get rid of that. Hello to the two. Usually the first two are silent. They're observers. But if anyone could let me know about the sound, that would be great. Can you hear me? Okay, one of you seven must be able to speak. Can you hear me? And the next question would be, thank you. Can you hear the fan? Is the fan a problem? Because I could switch it off quite easily. It shouldn't be a problem because I've got my little fluff bit out. Okay, but we don't want okay. We want great. So I want to know about the fan. Right, so can you hear the fan at all? If you can, I'm going to switch it off because I've got the aircon on. Fan, no problems. Liz, thank you so much for just being competent. Alex, competent. Thank you. Very great. And yeah, no, and I know this as well. Thank you. But like these guys were very clear, particularly this. She actually mentioned the fan. Obviously, this is what my inner child needed. This is what the part of me that was panicking needed. So a massive thank you to Liz, but also everyone else who tried. Thank you. Okay, great. There we go, perfect. You know, this is the sort of advice an autistic, childish man needs. Me. Speaking of childish, I'd like to tell you that I just did a solid poo. The main reason I'm telling you that is because I've got nothing to talk about. I did absolutely nothing yesterday. I didn't leave my flat for the first time. I didn't record an English refugee video for the first time. I went out to buy fruit, right, from my normal fruit lady. I've ditched Coconut Man. You'll meet Coconut Man soon. I feel really bad because my last interaction with Coconut Man, he really helped me. My bike was too heavy and had too much stuff on it, and I wasn't driving it, so I didn't lose control crash, but lost control balance. And he came out and helped me back up, and he sellotaped all my stuff to a bike. Like, he was so great. But there's a woman just down the road who charges me 75% of what he charges me, and she has other fruit, and she's got a family, so it's great content. And she's just got a warm, loving energy, but so's Coconut Man. Because Coconut Man, you don't know this yet, and this is a problem with it being behind, and it won't be behind soon, but Coconut Man was a star of the show. But we've moved on to Coconut Lady now. I got out $5 yesterday. I got out yesterday what I would normally pay him for 4 coconuts, and I had a pineapple, so I had 4 coconuts, a pineapple, and she gave me change. I couldn't believe it. So I'm gonna definitely need you guys to get this live going. I've got nothing. So I went out, I did that in the morning, and I didn't take my camera. And you know, my absolute motto, you know, if there's one thing I've learned in this YouTube journey, it's always, English refugee, always take your camera, man. Like, even if you don't feel like filming. So it's like 8 in the morning, I've waked and baked, I'm tired from the live I've just done. I'm in zombie mode. I'm just like, I'm not taking my camera. Like, I'm just not doing it. Like, I filmed at the fruit lady yesterday, and the story is like, you can't keep filming in the same place. Well, it's never the same. It's Southeast Asia, Tom. Like, it's never the same. So much happened. And then I had a really cute interaction with someone when I bought a lighter, and they said 5,000, which is $1.25 for a shit lighter. And I was just like, I almost paid it, and I was like, I don't think that's right. And then I looked at her, and she went, 500, like, she just made a mistake with her language. So it went from $1.25 to like 8 pence. But that was the end of my interactions for the day. I got a bit scared. Lee had a shindig, and I'd been smoking all day. I didn't really have any chance. But you know, so he has this Saturday shindig where women are there basically, and it scares me. Because there's this like 60-year-old woman who's got, right, so it's nothing about her. I've never spoken to her. I don't know anything about her. This is all projection. But Actually, what I haven't told you about my community centre is it essentially got destroyed by a woman, a scornful woman, who was a big part of the place until she wasn't. And then she decided she had to destroy the place. And she did a bloody good job. So obviously I've got a massive trauma around dark-haired women that look like witches and wear dark eyeliner who are around 50 years old. I fucking hate them. Even though, like, I don't want that business anymore. I don't think about 150 grand or anything like that. You know, this woman made my life hell for 18 months, 2 years, whatever it was. So, yeah, when I see that archetype of woman, archetype's not even the right word, like it's nothing to do with her, just someone with dark hair and black eyeliner, basically, I just think, witch, fuck you. You're going to be a scornful, horrible bitch. You'll be nice for a little bit until the mirror is shown, until all your ego is about to be exposed, and then you'll turn into a scornful fucking wench. So I don't really want to sit with her. Now, and again, this is probably projection. Like, because of all that, I've probably made this up or made more of this than it really is. But the first time I saw her, it was just her only. And the way she looked at me was like, you know, I mean, essentially, she's either a scornful, horrible bitch, which is all my projection, like, none of this is about her, or she's going to be really wise and amazing and will be able to see through me and see all my shadow, which is also scary. So either way, I'm scared of her. So I didn't join the party yesterday. So that's the end of the story. And that was my opportunity to do something yesterday. Now, I did have a productive day. I must have edited about 5 videos. I only had one tug, and I didn't order Event Boy. So I would say, all in all, that's a success. Not that I have any shame over ordering Event Boys. If I want to order Event Boy, I'll order Event Boy. I've only done it once so far. Yeah, it was lovely. But also, I've just can't be out of, you know, every night it comes up like, oh, shall I order Event Boy? And then I was like, well, not really. And I kind of almost wish I was more addicted to the external, let's say, or, you know, sexual addicted still or whatever. Like, it's something to do, but yeah, I think I'd rather just listen to this YouTube video. It's all a bit boring, really. I miss my days of extreme bummage. Okay, we've got a comment to speak into. Thank you very much, Jorg. I'm thinking of going to Vietnam. I mean, there's not much we can speak into without really, is there? But other than, yay, go on. So really, to make it a speakable, Tribe Called Duff is straight in. Kerry, who I notice has joined my, well, let's just go straight to, no, let's finish this. So really, to make this a comment that contributes to a live, which I'm not saying is your responsibility or your intention, but, you know, if you would like to, then it would be handy to know, you know, your history. Am I speaking to somebody that's never left the UK, or am I speaking to somebody who knows Southeast Asia well? Because obviously that would affect how I would speak into it. But yeah, massively recommend it. Obviously, and also I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you're hedonistic. I don't know if you're peaceful. So if you're hedonistic, go. The only but is if you like peace, you know, then you might find it challenging, as I did. Definitely worth seeing. And again, even in saying that, it's like, do you go on holiday once a year, or are you a traveler? Like, you know, because that, you know, I suppose it's worth seeing even if you go on holiday once a year, but it's probably destinations I would put ahead of it. I don't know though. It's right up there. It's right up there as jaw-droppingly wow in every single way, the full spectrum. So yeah, I think it's good thinking you're having. Kerry, I haven't seen you for a little while. How are you doing, my love? Kerry has just become a member on English Refugee. So yeah, definitely already a Patreon. So Kerry is now a Patreon and a YouTube member. She's getting a bit stalkerish. Only joking, Kerry. You can stalk me all you want with those shekels. Hiya, pal. I'm chilling and listening and laughing. I know exactly the witchy eyeliner look you're talking about. Hope everyone's feeling groovy. Right, honestly, I just want to really confirm and clarify, because one, she could be watching. You know, she knows Lee. She could very easily have my YouTube. Two, she's part of this circle that I'm about to become friends with, or I'm becoming friends with. I'm just a bit scared. So I just want to be very clear, none of this is about her. Like, this is all about my past trauma and all about my projection onto her and my assumptions around a lot of women I've seen that look like her. But nothing I have said is anything to do with her. You know what? Like, we're probably going to end up being really good friends, but she is, you know, essentially I'm a little boy. Like, I have little boy energy, which amazes me, like, in some ways, like, because I think, like, God, I'm so much more knowledgeable and wise than most people, but I'm very childish. So when these, whether they're powerful, traumatized, wherever they are on their spectrum, but I mean, they always think they're powerful. So when these, yeah, let's just talk about the healed ones rather than all the traumatized ones. So like 2%. Yeah, I mean, they tend to like me, I think, but they also, you know, I think they just find me a bit tiring and childish, basically. Funny. I don't know if this is a compliment or not. This is how far you have come, man. Living in Cambodia with dead flowers behind me. So for me, the fact that I'm putting the air conditioning on now for these lives is a big step, is a big, like, honoring of self. I recently bought a load of equipment, like cameras and ting. I feel like that's an honoring of self. I can use a microphone now, that's a big step. But for me, you know, I've achieved my goal, which was to earn a living on YouTube, to earn enough money to be able to leave the UK. And when I left the UK, I hadn't achieved that goal, but I just had confidence that I would. I feel like I achieved it probably, well, I mean, I did achieve it when I left the UK because I was getting shitloads of donations, which is all part of it. You know, so financially I have, not every month, almost every month, earned enough money to survive, and overall I've definitely earned enough money to survive. So I've achieved my goal, but obviously, like, as always happens with humans, when one achieves their goal, the goalposts seem to change. I don't really have a goal anymore. I don't have a financial goal. I don't have a YouTube goal. I just have a commitment to deepening and surrendering and growing. I feel like the YouTube stuff is done. I just, with YouTube now, I just give myself the best chance. So I get the best equipment. I think I've just done that this week. And there's just a knowing or a trusting that it will grow as it should and it will be what it should be. And if that's what it is now, then that's fine. Obviously, my ego would like it to be more. And I think it will be more. I think that's inevitable. But I don't really... I still, like, when I get a 1 out of 10 videos, so YouTube ranks your videos out of your last 10 videos. When I get a 1 out of 10, we still get a, like, But, you know, I used to be dancing around the room. And I really noticed yesterday much less. I mean, I did just have a bit of a low energy day yesterday, so it might be that. And it's definitely waking and baking is having its impact. I definitely noticed less this energy, less, you could use the word desire, but it's deeper than that. It's like less of me needing to escape myself in your comments would be the wise way of saying it, or wisest way I could say it. But, you know, you could just say, I had less interest in the comments. Like, usually, you know, I'm really, you know, I pretty much respond to every single one. I certainly read every single one. I just couldn't do it yesterday. I managed about half of them, and then I was just like, no. You know, it felt like work for the first time. rather than just like, oh, what are people saying? Ego, 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 ego. Oh, what do people think of me? You know, it just doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't care what people think of me. It's just their thoughts. It means nothing. So I think that's what it is, actually. I think I'm getting less defensive. I'm getting less, people's opinions just mean less and less to me every day. You know, you get a lot of practice as a YouTuber with that. So yeah, like I remember when I first started, like I was so scared of somebody putting something negative about me in the comments. I don't mean your standard troll. I mean like something vile, a lie, something made up, let's say. And I'd like check the comment feed with this like nervous energy, like is anyone lying about me? Like control. I want to control what people are saying about me, you know. In terms of if they're making up, like, you know, only really vile stuff. And I couldn't give a fuck now. It's like, right, what you want. If people are stupid enough to believe it, then that's fine. Like, it's all part of the unfolding. Well, yeah, so I said what I needed from you to give you advice. Like, am I advising an 18-year-old? Am I advising a 6-year-old? You know, have you been fisted? You know, this is the information we need. Seems like your walks in Sheffield was 5 minutes ago. I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it? For me, everything's paradoxical now. So in one regard, it feels like another lifetime. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's hope it's a good one. It just feels like a lifetime ago. I can't even believe I was in Sheffield. Like, so much has happened. But then at the same time, it kind of feels like 5 minutes ago. Like, so if I think like, oh God, I mean, Mexico feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like a different person, and in some ways it is. In some ways it is a different lifetime, different timeline. I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I don't know. I don't think it is, but you know, I mean, the guy in Mexico wasn't this guy now. The guy in Sheffield Woods wasn't this guy now, and this guy now, like, won't recognize himself in 6 months. You know, it's so yes and no, but more no for me. More like, whoa. I saw Margot the other day on WhatsApp, and she's like so old now. Like like even when I look at Margot, it feels like a different dog. Yeah, it just, and maybe it is. Like, who knows what's happening? Who knows what's playing out? I definitely don't think this life is as straightforward and mundane as we think it is in terms of energies, timelines, magic, loads of other stuff. Hills made out of dragons and giants. I mean, fuck me, man. Like, this world is mental. This world is magical, but we've made it incredibly mundane. First time I've been around for the start of one of your streams. Welcome, NM Polo. Now that button there with a pound sign on it or whatever, if you click that, you make the stream better. Liz is laughing her titties off. Debbie's in the house. So now we're going to have all the women yapping away. Hi, Tom. I think I am enlightened, but I'm on benefits. What shall I do? I mean, if you're asking that question, you're not enlightened. Nothing to do with benefits. Just the fact you're asking me that question, you're not enlightened. I don't think this is real, by the way, obviously, but it is funny. Yeah, an enlightened person isn't on benefits. An enlightened person is the creator of, oh, that's a good thought. Is the creator of their own destiny, is the beater of their own drum. Enlightened people are not on benefits. There may be a period of time, like in the dark night of the soul, where somebody lets go of everything and benefits will be part of the journey for sure. And there's no shame in him. I'm not shaming that at all. I had 6 months on benefits. When I went back to the UK, I just thought, fuck it, I'll go on benefits. And that was very much my dark night of the soul. Yeah, because it is there is this transition period. You know, it can look slightly different. So most enlightened people are entrepreneurs from the day they're born because they're old souls. They're not, they don't need the system. They don't need handouts. They're creative. They're creators. They're setting up businesses when they're 14. Like, by that I mean like selling sweets or drugs or something like that. Not that I did any of those things. So I think a person who's on for a really strong journey in this life is going to be an entrepreneur without even trying. Because it is the first, self-employment is the first step of awakening, because it gives you time. If you're on the hamster wheel, you can't contemplate or consider anything. You know, so much so that you might even take a jab that is clearly like, with not even the word research is ridiculous. Like, all you had to do was open your eyes to see that was not something you wanted to take. Both in terms of history, science, history of the company's science, but also in terms of how much they wanted you to take it and how little it made sense. It was just ridiculous. And like how they rushed the timescales and it had not been tested. Like, very obvious stuff. You didn't need to look at any stats or anything like that. So yeah, obviously, I'm not going to spend any more time with this. Obviously, it's a joke. It's a troll thinking they're clever, but you know, it's so dumb that I'll just speak into it like a normal question. It's pointless. As in pointless from what they've tried. Or maybe not. I mean, it could be genuine. But yeah, you're not enlightened, bro. Like, you wouldn't be asking that question. If that's your profile picture, you're definitely not enlightened. What should you do? What do you think you should do? Obviously, my answer would be start creating, because that's what I did. Lol. Are you watching England, mate? No, of course not. It's Africa for a start. I just can't believe people are still watching it. Like, it's all so clearly fixed. It's all a massive satanic ritual. I did a video on the refs dropping satanic signs. I mean, if it was at 7 p.m, I guess I'd put it on. But I don't think I could cheer for them. Like, they're not England. Like, they're not. I have no connection to them whatsoever. In every regard. I mean, that's obviously been happening for a long time. They've been becoming multimillionaires. They're getting more and more detached from the fans. Like, there's so many videos now of footballers walking. You know, like when I was a kid, footballers always, and if you went, I'm not saying bothering them in their personal life, but if you went and queued up at like the tunnel and, you know, the player entrance, they would stop and sign autographs. Like, that was standard. Oh my God, like, it's like 1 in 10 players will do that now. Like, so there's a massive, obviously that's a reflection of society and the separation and division in society. But there's like such a huge disconnect between player and fan now, both like financially, lifestyle-wise, and then that's just showing up in their attitude. And then you've got the whole fact that we're watching Africans whilst they're, you know, beheading and doing all the things that they do. Which, of course, some of them are very good. But in general, you know, a lot of negative stuff. I'm at the point where I can't even look at them. It's not even, you know, I could say, oh, they make me sick, blah, 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 but it's not even that. I just don't want to look at them. I'm so furious at what has been done to my lands and the lies we've been told about these people. And the stark difference in the reality. I'm so angry that that's been done to my people and my lands. But I can't even look at them. So you think I want to watch a load of them that have been paid millions of pounds to wear the shirt of my lands, while the rest of them grape and pillage? Nah, I'm not partaking in that. Like, energetically, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't. It's not even a moral, like, yeah, okay, you could say it's moral, but it's just a complete aversion. It's just a complete rejection. It's a complete, I'm not being part of this. I'm not giving it my energy. I'm not saying it's okay. If you watch the England team, you are saying the grape of your lands is okay, because it's represented in that England team very starkly. So no, I am not a treasonous traitor. I think this is the demon. Hi Tom, I think. Oh no, sorry. I thought it was the same. I thought he was commenting again. Ooh, was I telling a story? Was it about the woman that destroyed my business? What the fuck? What? Why are all these plebs? You're usually not even a pleb. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Why are you even considering this as a possibility? Like, clearly I'm not going to be supporting the representation of the destruction of my homeland. Oh, you mental. Thank you, Debbie. At least we got a bit of sense in the chat. So Debbie is, for those listening, just saying, why would you watch a non-English England team? So presumably England played last night. Is that why we're chatting about this pleb stuff? See, plebs get it. Not many are English in the England team. I mean, it's going to get... Is France just the goalkeeper now, I think? Oh, and Griezmann. It's disgusting. Very disgusting. I mentioned yesterday, it got demonetized live from yesterday. I appealed and it came back on, but I don't know if it was this they didn't like. But, you know, there's this graph going around Twitter at the moment that's pretty remarkable and confirms what we've all known for a long time. But, well, we're all animals, right? But some of us are more animalistic than others. Like, drastically so, like different species. So, and now this graph probably isn't true. Of course, we're all the same and diversity is our strength. But yeah. And there's a line in the Bible that's something like, do not dwell with the beasts of the land, something like that. Very clear. If you look at that graph and that Bible quote next to each other, well, the Bible is what it is, but there's also a lot of truth in there. You realize, you know, do not dwell with the beasts of the land. If I need to say any more, then you don't deserve to understand. Bart's need. Is Charlie Veach a small hat? He really does get very offended whenever I mention his USS Liberty. I'm not sure what USS Liberty is. I don't think so. That's not my understanding. Maybe there's a bit in his blood. I don't know. But I don't think he identifies as that. I just think he's... We've had this discussion before. I think he's paid. Because I don't believe that I don't believe you can unawaken. I've never seen it before. I've never met anyone who's seen a truth and then been able to unsee it. Because many of us wish we had never seen it, you know. Many of us, you know, ignorance is bliss and all that. So Charlie Veach, you know, used to be a conspiracy theorist and now he's a complete pleb who denies all the conspiracy theories. So I just don't believe that's possible. Like, it's just not possible. So one of two possibilities then come up. He's either been paid by them, hence why his content is now very much about them, or he has realized what the masses are plebs and there's no point giving pearls to swine, and he wants to be the biggest YouTuber he can be, so he's sold out in that regard. But again, I'm just not sure that's possible. Like, he does have quite a lot of authenticity. I don't know if he could do that. Like, to be as entertaining as he is, you have to believe what you're saying. This is my experience anyway. Like, I couldn't be as funny as I am, whether you think that's funny or not, but just as funny as I am, or as real or authentic or whatever it is, alive as I am, if I was lying. Like, because that contorts you, and that's the opposite of what I am and what I think my content is. And I think it's going to be the same for him. Like, I don't think he'd be able to create the standard of content he does in terms of his humor and his showmanship if he was completely lying. So it's a very hard one to get your head around, unless, you know, so then you have to go to, I think he's being paid. Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's a shame. I used to like him, but I can't watch him anymore. He's definitely not wise or enlightened. That's for sure. He's definitely off. I mean, he's banging on about Jesus now, isn't he? And you can tell he don't give a fuck about Jesus. Like, I mean, not that that's even, you know, I don't think that's the way at all. I think it's the standard pleb right-wing move right now. Again, I think he's doing that for popularity. I think he's realised that, okay, the curve is moving towards Christianity, because, you know, people like Russell Brand are indoctrinating the plebs to do that, so that's what the plebs will do. And he sees that. And he's probably stupid enough to believe it as well. Like, he lives in fear vibration. He's not done the work. So he's grasping, like everyone else, grasping externally. And so he's kind of, oh, everyone's moving towards Jesus. Okay, that's the right thing to do. I'll do that. It's popular and I'm scared. Oh my God, somebody's asking about Joanne's Sandwich Shop. Oh my God. Do you miss Joanne's Sandwich Shop? You must know me. I mean, do you know that I went... So, question, do you... I'm not reading that name. Do you miss Joanne's Sandwich Shop at Banner Cross for the best ever full English breakfast? Wow. So either this guy just knows I'm from that area and knows that I'll have been in Joanne's, or this person knows me and knows that I was in Joanne's twice a day, every day for 5 years. Like, that was my place. Obviously, I went to Sean's for a pork sandwich. But in general, I was in Joanne's every day, all the time. Now, Right, so I really like Joanne. I mean, she was a middle-class floozy, really, wasn't she? But, an upper-class, you know. Floozy is not the right word. What I mean by that is, yeah, she didn't need to work. And, but anyway, I really liked her. Obviously, this is before the Great Division. I would have hated her after the Great Division because she would have definitely gone on the let's all poison ourselves side. But we don't need to speak about that because this is before the Great Divide when even NPCs were likable. So, I liked Joanne. I liked her team. I liked how she ran the business. I think the food was good. But it wasn't fantastic. You know, if you wanted fantastic, you went to Johnson's on Shower Hill Road, but I didn't want to pay 10 quid for my breakfast. I wanted to pay 5 quid. So I think when you take price into account, it was fantastic. It was great value for money. It was great service. It was well located. I'm trying to remember what happened. The arse fell out of it, didn't it? She sold it, didn't she? I think Joanne did all right and sold it. And then whoever took it on just destroyed it. I forget exactly what happened, but the arse totally fell out of it, didn't it? But great comment. I love Sheffield comments like that, particularly Banner Cross. Wow. That's, wow. Oh, okay, yeah. Charlie's dad is Jewish, apparently. Yeah, I just don't think it makes any difference. Like I suppose it just makes it more so. You know, he's clearly... he's not authentic or true to himself, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter whether he's been paid, whether it's a decision he's made. I guess if he's been paid, it makes it more serious. If you live in a serious world, if you're still taking this world seriously, then God help you. But you know, I just like to judge a man on his actions, and I don't like his actions. I don't think there is a problem in my life. Do you think the main problem with your life is your substance use? So I don't have a substance use problem. I have a relationship with a green plant. That's it. You know, which is a medicine. Okay, it can be overused. So you're projecting from your shit life that I have a problem in my life. There's no problem in my life. My life's wonderful. Look at it. Okay, admittedly, you're still watching content. Yeah, even the content you're watching now, you can still see my life's wonderful, unless you don't want to. Unless it makes you realize how bad your life is. And then you have to pretend my life's as bad as yours, but I can assure you it's not. I'm not in the office. I didn't do the stupid thing. I'm doing self-work. I'm not just in hate and projection. Oh dear. Timmy Tommy, what a sad bastard you are. Have we had any more on the Anne Widdecombe saga? I haven't seen anything actually, but I saw something that suggested that the white guy that got arrested or heard something, or I don't quite know, but I haven't looked at X, put it that way. the white man that got arrested has now been de-arrested, or is that not true? Because that would be so like, she gets off by a bioweapon. There's a white guy I've ever seen who gets arrested, and that's the one that they talk about. But actually, there was another guy I've ever seen who got arrested who had the knife. That'd be so funny. I'd love it. And obviously hate it at the same time, but you know, you kind of have to laugh. Yeah. It kind of shows up as N fatigue, doesn't it? But really, it's bat. Yeah. If you accept that people's... Oh, God, I'm going to have to poo soon. Can I get to an hour with the first poo? If you accept that people's opinions about you are driven by their own internal hatred for themselves, you free yourselves... Yeah, absolutely. From circular, nagging thoughts. Yeah, I mean, we live in a world of projection. Like, people are literally telling you what you are, what they are. Like, well, once you can see it, it's incredible. You know, all the greats have talked about this. Nietzsche, Schopenhauer. Like, I mean, this is just standard psychology. Right? We live in complete delusion, and that's, you know, I think that was going on in their time, and that's before. Like, I'm not saying it was great for the people in those times. I'm not saying there was no control from kings and queens, let's say, or higher ups. I mean, it's the same people, really. But, you know, they worked for land every day. They lived with their family. They lived in communities. They weren't surrounded by bioweapons. Like, it was, you know, nothing compared to what we're experiencing. Like, honestly, it's easy to, you know, make your time the most important time in human history and the most tyrannical time ever. But it is. Like, there's no more tyrannical. I mean, the psyop that was the world wars, I suppose that was maybe worse to be living through that. Particularly if you were a man and you were sent to the meat grinder, the white man meat grinder. Yeah, obviously that's going to be worse. But actually, in terms of everything that's going on now and everything that's playing out now, I mean, certainly, I don't think mentally it's been any more challenging than it is now. Unless you've broken through and you're just laughing at it all, like the bodhisattva that I am. Kind of joking, kind of not. Everything's a paradox, don't take things too literally. Try not to get triggered, people. Yes. Oops. I'm a massive fan of croutons in soup. What is soup without croutons? Yeah, so C plebs, the world sucks. I look forward to leaving it. This is how I showed up for... I think the first 15 years of my life, I was in love with life. And then the whole sexuality thing came up and it all just went shit. And then, you know, realizing, well, just the reality of life changing, let's say, as in literally around me, like changing color and safety levels. So yeah, I lived like this from 15 to, you know, very recently. It's a really sad way of living, and as in, I feel sad for you. I'm not judging it. Like, it's very understandable. But I've seen in some of your comments, you're very dismissive. You know, you're very defensive. You're not open. You're not seeking. You're not trying. You've given up. So of course you feel like this. And it's understandable why you've done all those things. Like, it's really hard. But life's beautiful, life's joyful. My life is, you know, and of course, you know, there's, yeah, I mean, there ain't even, for me now, my only negative moments are from myself, are, you know, this story that I want to do something now, or this is a bit boring. But it very rarely comes up. I just love it. I just love it. There's still moments every day where I'm like, oh, I'm just filling time. You know, I'm still just coping, really. But there's no despair or sadness or anguish anymore. But you're not giving yourself a chance, man. Like you're, I can't quite remember the comments, but I just know the energy of them. Like they're basically atheist, very dismissive. You're not open. You don't want to learn. So guess what's going to happen? Your life's going to go stale. Like if you know, your external reflects your internal. But the problem is to change that is so much work. It's not like you just change your mentality one day, you know, like it's got to be consistent and it's so much work, especially if you're enslaved, you know, like it's such a long, hard journey. But it is actually easier to just give up in many ways. But Freud speaks about this really well with Thanatos and Eros. You know, like that totally explains what's going on for you. And then on top of that, your fear of God, your fear of connection, of beauty, of love. Because to experience that, you would have to experience everything that's holding you back from that. So you'd have to experience the opposite of that, which is what's happening now. Like you're in the dark night of the soul. Maybe you just haven't realized. But it might go on for lifetimes. And this is the sad thing, sea plebs, is with this attitude, you're just going to come back here. And I'm not saying that's certain, but, you know, pretty much. You know, death isn't the end. But then you think death is the end. Like because your life is so harrowing, you can't consider the possibility that you might have free will after this life. That this life might continue. That you might have a choice. That you know, like nobody, like so many people want this life to end. And the idea of an afterlife terrifies them. And I think you're in that category. Well, I've got news for you, buddy. It ain't ending when you die, so you might as well try now. Charlie has said he's a Zionist before. No, he hasn't. You know, he might have said it in jest. He might have even... Oh, yeah. So he says, he waters it down to the lowest level, doesn't he? So I don't like what you're doing here. You're trying to twist to prove a point rather than sticking to the truth. So he defines a Zionist as somebody who believes Israel should exist. Most people in this chat would define a Zionist as something more sinister than that. So what you're doing is you're taking his watered down version of Zionism and stating it as if he is saying, you know, that he wants greater Israel and basically the end of the world. So I don't like it when people do that. You're not authentic. You're not aligned with truth. You're aligned with ideology and your ego over truth. Don't like it. Oh, we're playing Norway. Oh, okay. That is actually quite exciting and would explain why there's not many people in the feed. Now, I have a conspiracy theory, but Norway are gonna win the World Cup. I think obviously the World Cup is, of course, being used to divide and conquer like everything else, as well as farm your loosh, your energy from watching it. So they're very clearly leaning on this, on the race thing in the World Cup. And I think they're going to have the white team win, the underdog white team win, the Vikings win. To ride it up, to make it more obvious, so everyone's like, oh, those people are the best athletes. Obviously, I'm just talking about athletes and not people who are all... Oh, sorry, I've just got a twitch. So, you know, because they want people to get irate. They want people to realize that they've been lying to us. You know, maybe I think they're ready to just come out and be like, we're shapeshifters and we control you, fuck off. You know, this is what you'll do or you'll die. But maybe not the we're shapeshifters bit, but, you know, they're ready to stop the play of democracy, put it that way, very soon. So I think they are showing us everything now. Like the World Cup is, they put out this mat at the start of, I don't know if it was the start of the first match or if it's the start of every match, I've not been watching it. It's got the flat earth on it and the ice wall. Like they're fully showing you now. Like they're not hiding everything. They've got referees looking into the camera, smiling, winking, and then dropping the devil's sign. Like, so I think that Norway are going to win, or at least do very well. So I don't think England will win. I kind of want to watch it, actually. No, I don't. I'm not getting involved in that satanic bullshit. So yeah, so everyone's going to be like, look, they are the best. We are the best. Why are we putting up with this? I'm going to go out onto the streets and smash some shit up and you know, maybe even get towards civil war territory, and then the state have all the power, because then they can really do what they want. Then everyone's in fear, and they can make up loads of new rules that will never, ever go away, but will obviously just be made up for the commotion, but will never go away, just like all the 9/11 laws. Yeah, I think Norway are going to win it. I think that's how they're going to do it. Maybe not win it, but they're definitely going to beat England tonight. I really hope they do. Come on, Norway. But then it's all fixed. I just fell for it. Kevin, I had all religions, politics, and most media fatigue too. Now I don't pay any attention to all three of those things. They are all traps and envy thieves. Religion, politics, media. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah. I was going to talk about one religion that's okay, but even that is a bastardization of what the man himself was saying. The Buddha! Paranoid one, you're so lost, mate. There is no shame when there is no money. Absolute nonsense. So money is shame. Well, for you, yes, because you live in shame, and you project it onto money because you have none. Money is just currency and energy. Like, you know, it's just like the AI, just like the knife. You know, it can be used for good and evil. So disempowered, man. It really shows. I mean, your name says it all, man. Like, to be calling yourself Paranoid One, wow, you might as well, you know. It's not good. You've got no chance as long as you're calling, as long as you're identifying yourself as that, as, you know, essentially weak, disempowered, and in shame. Then yeah, you've got no chance. Ryan, my man from Thailand, the third OG. You can't claim a thing for 2 years after being abroad. Are we talking about benefits? Yeah. I don't really understand that. Oh, it's because you haven't paid in, but then, you know, all these people on benefits aren't paying in, especially the new arrivals. They've never paid anything in their lives. Yeah, as an Englishman, if you leave the country and come back, yeah, it's just disgusting, isn't it? I mean, it's, you know, it's justifiable in a world where they weren't handing out to everyone. You know, if a benefit system was what it should be, you know, for disabled people, basically, and, you know, 6 months after, you know, you might give it to people for 6 months when they've lost their jobs. Then I wouldn't get too triggered by this. I'd be like, well, okay, fair enough. It's just a, you know, it's just a net to catch those that really need it, rather than like this propping up any pleb system that we have now. But the system that we do have, it's disgusting that any Englishman would ever be denied of it, no matter where they've been. It just makes me so mad that the bioweapons are getting so much, man, and like getting anything. Like, why are they getting anything? And it's, you know, it's so apparent when you come out here and live this life as you do, Ryan. I hope you don't mind me using your name. Sorry about that if you do. Too late. I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you're cool. Yeah, when you come out here and see how different it is, and just the concept of supporting a foreign person financially. Like, what? You've come to our country. What are you talking about? You can't support yourself? We don't really want you here anyway. Off you bob. Oh, you can't afford it. There's a jail cell. You can wait 6 months for your embassy to even notice that you're in jail. Enlightened people say no to working tax credits and child benefits. I don't think Latin people are worrying about working tax credits and child benefits, mate. Oh, God. If I was in charge of England tomorrow, I don't know what working tax credits are. And the system would change so much that it would just become irrelevant. But definitely, I would do what a certain man in Germany did around encouraging childbirth of the natives. So I would give huge tax benefits or tax reliefs. I mean, there'd be no tax. If I was in charge, there'd been certainly no more than 2% tax. You know, we need roads, we need hospitals. In the current society, we need a police force. Like in the society I would like to create and get to, but it would not happen in my lifetime. We wouldn't need a police force. But initially, we'd need a police force. So, you know, you've got to have a contribution pot. But it doesn't need to be more than 1%, probably, maybe 2%. But there'd be no tax, there'd be no theft, there'd be no going out of your pocket and into mine. You know, it would all be very transparent. Everyone would be able to see exactly where the money's being spent. All right, I'm just going to go and make some noise out of my asshole, people. Well, I suppose I might as well put the kettle on while I'm up. All right, the last one was solid, but not so much. I suppose it's still 60% solid. It's still quite a good result. Yeah, it's not a gushing waterfall today. It's a lot better than it was yesterday. Oh, it doesn't smell good. That smells really bad. I usually like the smell of my own shit, but not today. It's too much. So I've got some stuck in my sphincter, so I might be here for a little while. I'm gonna have to use the Asian bum gun, I think, to get it out. But I'm just gonna try and here we go. Oh, yes. So yeah, that deeper there is definitely more sloppy. I think we're at 50% now. Oh, I'm so childish. Is this funny, or is it just because I'm childish? I think it's funny. What a life. Alrighty. I would like more feedback on whether you enjoy listening to my pews or not. No one seems to comment on it, which amazes me. We're going to need some more donations, guys, if we're going to keep going. Ooh. Yeah, that is such a good way of putting it. The government is on benefits. It's so true, man. They're just feeding off us. It's disgusting. This is also true. The royal family are on benefits. Was he? Andy Cole was one of the first to just walk past people. I think Andy Cole was a twat for walking past kids wanting autographs. I think you could just end that at Andy Cole was a twat. Even back then, before they were like celebrities and twats, I mean, they kind of were celebrities, but it's Conroy. We like Conroy. Conroy's a good one. Yeah, he was always known as a bit of a twat. Teddy Sheringham didn't like him, did it? Was it Teddy Sheringham and Andy Cole? Yeah, Teddy Sheringham didn't like him, and you can tell Teddy Sheringham's a good man. He's always smiling. So if Teddy Sheringham doesn't like you, and it's like public that Teddy Sheringham doesn't like you, then you're an arsehole. And there's a very obvious reason. We do have a whole bioweapon bit going on as well. Brian, the England team are changing from the 3 lions to the 3 giraffes. I mean, it's funny, but actually it doesn't really make sense because lions are also from Africa. But I know that we, for some reason, have some connection to them. Was it that we brought someone over and put them in the London Zoo or something like that? I'm not sure. I mean, we don't really have a connection to lions, do we? But remind me why we have 3 lions. I remember when I heard the reason for why we have lions or a connection with lions, I was like, okay, there's something in it, but it's a bit desperate. What's it gonna take to get you back to the UK? I mean, what perspective are you coming from? Are you coming from like, you're a traitor and you've left us because I feel so disempowered and I need to tell myself a story that if meaningless people like Tom were here, it would be different? Well, no, you're just trapped and you don't like the fact that I'm free, so you want to try and trap me so you don't feel bad about being trapped. Is it coming from that perspective? Or is it coming from, you know, what would have to change in the UK for you to come back? So I'll answer it from that second one because the first one is obviously just all your bullshit. What would have to change? I mean, my God. I wonder if a fake Jew... I didn't say that word. I wonder if a controlled, treasonous government that looks good, so Rupert Lowe, coming in would be enough for me to just visit again. So if I had no fears about being arrested at the airport, basically, then I would definitely go back and see my parents. Because I can't even see my parents in France either. It's mental because of my sister and my mum's so like, my mum's fear basically. You know, she's so scared of my sister even seeing me because she thinks that that's some horrendous thing. Like, if my sister saw me, I'd just be like, hey, we don't have to talk. I don't, you know, it's totally up to you. I don't mind. I'm here to talk if you want to talk. I'm here to not talk if you don't. You know, but she's so petrified. She's built up this massive story, but it'd just be the end of the world if me and my sister ever saw each other again. So I can't even go and see her in France. So it's a bit fucked. It's just mental. My mum's so mental. She's made this whole massive story out of nothing. And presumably my sister has as well. Like, presumably it's real for my sister. That's why my mum has this story. But to me, it's just like, you still have that story from 15 years ago? Like, that's crazy. Anyway, but this is what happens when you don't do the self-work and you're a spaz. So, if Rupert Lowe got in, which obviously doesn't change anything big picture, but things would get, just like when Trump, they'd make it look like your man has won. So, you know, when Trump came out and went men are men and women are women and we're not doing this trans nonsense anymore. Well, you know, it would be the same with Rupert Lowe. He'd say, yeah, we're sending back the bioweapons, but all the major stuff would carry on. And so I'd probably come home and be in, I can only come for 2 weeks, otherwise I'm a tax resident again. For about 3 years, I think that is. I think after 3 years, you might be able to visit for 6 months without becoming a tax resident again. I'm never, you know, that's very important to me. I'd never ever want to contribute a penny towards the destruction of my homelands again. So obviously that's what paying taxes. So, you know, I think that's a really important integrity piece. So, yeah, I might come back for 2 weeks if Rupert Lowe won, and I didn't feel like it was. So if Rupert Lowe won, I think two-tier justice would end as well. Because again, these are easy wins. We don't really need any of that. Like, as long as the deeper stuff is still happening, which it absolutely would be. Oh, aren't they disgusting? Like, I think it's energetic. I think it's everything we've experienced, and I think there's, you know, a reaction, a repulsion reaction to everything we've experienced. But also, I think for enlightened people like us, Krishna, it's energetic. Like we know, you know, we're not the same. You know, I can feel it. I can feel it. The minute I look at them, I'm just like, oof. You know, the beasts of the land. Do not dwell with the beasts of the land. Well, I can't really grow my beard. So Krishna's telling me to grow my beard, but this is all I can do. It doesn't grow here. Like, I'm not shaving this. I'm not like choosing this chin strap. No, this is it. This is the best I can do. So it could get longer from here. So the best I could have is like an old man, wispy, thin, wise man beard. But I just think it looks gay. So I'm going to go and get my hair cut today, and that's going to include a shave. That's my plan, unless the chat convinces me otherwise. Okay, guys, we need a donation in the next 15 minutes, otherwise I'm ending the stream. No, he's French, Tuchel, or German. Yeah, he's a German, isn't he? That's just brilliant. I mean, I have no issue with that anymore, because for me, anyone who looks we all just need to come together. And it's so ridiculous, isn't it, that we've got all these, oh, we hate the French, oh, he's a kraut, he's this, he's that, within Europe, and then when it comes to Africans, we're just being like, yeah, come on in, you're great. I mean, how conditioned are we, you know, to have all these names and hatred towards fellow Europeans whilst our country has been invaded with bioweapons? Like, what? Yeah, stop that. Yeah, I totally agree. The Bible is so open to interpretation that any truth in it may as well not even be there. Yeah, totally. It's, you know, when you hear Lee talk about it, or is it William Donahue? I mean, literally every sentence can be perceived 50 different ways, or probably more. So like, to create a belief system around it, and, you know, a church that tells you, and like, oh my God, it's so retarded. Ryan, Harry Kane said he can't do banana kicks as it's racist to his teammates. It's got to a point where I don't even know if you're joking or not. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're joking, but, you know, it could actually be true. I mean, when I was last on X a lot, it was really getting to that. Well, it wasn't getting. It was at the point, completely at the point where you were just like, is this satire? I just don't even know anymore. And of course, that's all part of the plan. They want you so. Shall we end the stream and watch the football? It looks like no one wants the stream to continue. Maybe I'll watch the second half. I don't even know how to watch it. Like, how would I watch it? Charlie is, oh, here's someone to tell us. Someone's going to tell us, everyone. He's going to give us his opinion, and that's it. It's final. We can all go home. I'm going to end my YouTube channel because this person is going to tell us. Charlie is genuine. He just hasn't connected all the dots yet. No, he did about 15 years ago. You don't know what you're talking about. But he's on, no, he's not. He's not on the verge at all. You're just desperate. And because he entertains you, you don't want to admit that he's a shill. Whether he makes it over the verge is another matter. Absolute BS. 15 years ago, he'd connected all the dots. He was there. And now he's not. So that doesn't happen. There's no holding it lightly in this. There's no enlightenment in this. There's no softness in this. It's like, you know, to come into a chat and tell people that this is the way it is, when your comment doesn't even make sense. Like, nah, I've got very little respect for you. Whereas this guy, lots of respect. Bioweapon England players said if they can't take the penalties, they'll sue them under the Human Rights Act. Sounds a bit much. Hang on, is that Ryan or is it? Oh, I get confused. Yeah, this is Ryan, isn't it? Trucking Inferno. There's two Thailand guys. Yeah, no, it's you. Yeah, sorry, I'm just having a potted moment. Yeah, I'm not going to speak into that. It doesn't feel true to me. You know, if a team was saying that you players can't, then of course, but I don't think that's happening. So I think you're referring to when, you know, the 3 players missed penalties, maybe. But yeah, I don't know if it's meant to be a joke. I'm not quite sure. Oh God, of course he's a desperate external one. There's a huge amount of young reading the Bible and connecting back to Jesus. It's a complete reaction to Islam. They missed the point big time. Oh, actually, I think he might be on my page with this. It's just the fact that you say connecting back to Jesus as if that's a thing and it's possible and positive, rather than just indoctrination and desperation. So I'm not quite sure where you're at with this one, so there's not much point. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Thank you, Heart of Hearts. Wow, again, amazing. Very motivating. Thank you so much, Heart of Hearts. Let's do another hour. Let's make another coffee for it. Thank you. Let's leave that on the screen while I make a coffee as a gratitude. And I hope that the rest of the chat is grateful if you are enjoying the live, because it's obviously better than watching Bioweapons in an England shirt. Grateful to Heart of Hearts because she has just got us all, you know, motivated me enough to do at least another hour. At what point do you think I can rely on the earnings of the lives to be able to commit to hiring a Cambodian man to make me coffees during the lives? It would probably cost about $3 to have a Cambodian man stand here for 3 or 4 hours making me coffees. And of course, he could also pass me things. Maybe he could shoot the Asian bum gun at my asshole. I mean, I'm not really sure why I would want that other than my ego feeling powerful. But certainly just making me the coffees, for the sake of $3, it might be worth it. Oh, but I'd still need to shit. So the stream would still get interrupted. I mean, maybe he could just bring a little bucket over and I could... I mean, you've all heard it all already. So would that be too much for you if I just squirted out of my ass into a bucket on the live stream. Oh, even I couldn't. Yeah, that was funny. Whew, that's really funny. Is that funny or am I just childish? I think that's hilarious. Oh God, I'd love to do that. Not even say anything. You know, you're just watching the lives, a normal live, or you know, by my standards, normal. And then I just scoot on over and squirt it all out. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. I might just do it onto the floor before I've got the Cambodian man with a bucket. What's your job? I catch Tom's waterfalls out of his ass into a bucket and make him coffees in between. Oh, this world is too funny. I can't take it anymore. Oh, Kerry's on page with Charlie. Well, it's just obvious, isn't it? Like, there's nothing to agree with. Like, what I've said is just so obvious to anyone, especially if you're a little pixie in the Amish forest. Like, so obvious. Like, you have to be very, very indoctrinated and desperate to not see it that way, in my opinion. Which, of course, is always right. I don't get it, but it's kind of funny. I mean, it's got skid in it, so I like it. Ever thought of being on the front wheel skid payroll yourself? Oh, you're saying taking shekels from bad people? No, I just couldn't. You know, there's part of me, yeah, have I ever thought about it? I must have thought about it. Yeah, there's part of me that wishes I could. I mean, the ego, the broken bits. But there's nothing there. Like, so the only way they could possibly get me, and I don't think this would even work, is to threaten me. Because there's no amount of money. Like, why would I want money? Why would I want more than, let's say, $5,000 a month, which I think I can do myself? And I don't even really need or care about that. Like, for me, $2,000 a month is a goal. Goal is too strong a word. But is something that I envisage happening quite soon, but will be quite nice. Now, okay, if I want to move to Europe and live a good life, okay, I want $3,000 a month. But that's where it's at for me. It's like, how much do I need a month to live an affluent life in terms of like food, rent, gyms, massages, services, really? I'm only really interested in services. I'm not interested in things. So, okay, I'd buy a Tesla machine, like that's the thing I want. If I was settled, I'd buy a sauna in my own home. And then after that, it's just services. I can't think of anything else I want. Like, if I had all the money in the world, don't think I'd buy a Ferrari now. You know, I've done the Porsche thing, and I know why one does it. It's because you want people to look at you. Well, I don't want anyone to look at me anymore, especially the type of people that look at me because of my car. I don't want that. It doesn't mean anything to me. You know, this is when I was a love addict and trying to attract a partner, and, you know, it's just a whole different paradigm. So I can't, you know, so that's just the money. Like, obviously, then there's all the morals and what I stand for, and also, you know, the spiritual journey is all that matters to me. So obviously it would go against that. So there's no way they could ever buy me out. Like, literally, they could offer me all the money in the world. It would mean nothing to me. What am I going to do with it? Like, all you can do with it is shag people, basically. That's essentially where that leads to. Like, all right, like, I've had one men boy in 2 weeks. So, like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll shag that person, but it's not like, I'm not suddenly going to be like, oh, I want 50 around me every night, bazooka partying me, you know. No, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to start sticking stuff up my nose. You know, that's the only way that would ever appeal to me if I was still in that. And I'm so far from that. So the only other way they could get me is if they threaten my life. And you know what? It's impossible to say until you're in it, but I imagine if they threatened me, I would buckle. I'd be very scared. I'd buckle. I wouldn't be able to come on YouTube and lie though. I'd just cancel all my YouTube. I'd just not do it. But I think that would be an initial reaction, and then there'd be a defiance in me that would fight back and do it anyway and then get killed. I think that's probably how it would play out. But there's no way I'm taking their money. Like, there's no, money don't mean anything to me. I love money, and I come on here to make money. But like an amount that impacts my lifestyle, as in the services I can receive, the places I can live. Once I hit that, like, there's no, you know, I can notice like broken parts of me that believe in scarcity and would like to own a Bitcoin or something like that. But I've had it all before, and it means nothing. Like, you just end up in this hoarding vibration. You end up in this like, you know, the times that I've experienced scarcity the most are the times where I've been really rich, because it just creates a fear over losing it, and it's just something external to focus on, and it takes away like your focus on the internal. So I've just no desire for any of these material safety nets. And then, so that's like, say, gold and Bitcoin. You know, because I don't need safety. I don't want safety. I want to be on the edge of the cliff all the time, leaning in, jumping off. And then if you take it to materialism, there's just nothing there for me. Like, there's literally nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the quality of the car I drive matters to me. The experience of driving, I don't even really mean the engine, I mean more like, does it have aircon and stuff like that? That matters, but the badge doesn't. And this is why I can trust, because amazing people like this, oh, Debbie, of course, she's super amazing. Well, you know, is it even these people, or is it just the universe? Like, of course it is these people, but it's the God head. You know, the reason there's people like this in my life is because they're reflecting my internal, they're reflecting my trust. In terms of the universe, obviously there's also these individuals, and we'll speak about it on an individual level in a minute, but, you know, bigger picture, this is a reflection of my trust. And it's a reflection of how I show up in the world, and what I give to the world is reflected in people like Heart of Hearts, Debbie, and who was the person? Oh, Kerry, of course. Kerry's a regular reflector of my heart. Yeah, trust is everything. It starts with courage, but trust is everything. Trust is the opposite of fear. Trust is the start of your real spiritual journey. Trust is when you really can start to open up, because how can you open up when you're in fear? So thank you to these people for reflecting the trust within me. However, Debbie does not trust enough to be okay with seeing me shit on stream. Why not, Debbie? What's your judgments, projections, and potential truths around? So it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, why would one not want to see that? Just like, I mean, maybe I'm just very traumatized, but like, for me, you want to see stuff that you've never seen before. I love awkwardness. I love shame. I love, you know, or doing things that most people have that reaction to, because I don't. So I just find it hilarious watching their reactions, because it's just human. Like, it's just like we all shit. So yeah, I would invite you to speak into it more, Debbie. Like, what is it? What is your story around why that would be negative? And that might sound mad, because you might be like, well, of course, like, no one would shit in public, but that's repression. Now, I'm not saying we want a society where everyone's going around shitting, because then it's India. But in terms of pushing boundaries, in terms of pushing repression, in terms of being free, in terms of not caring what people think, do you see the power of it? And do you see, you know, the potentially, the reason you're saying this sentence, I don't want to see you poo live on stream, is because you're repressed. And that doesn't mean that if you weren't repressed, you would suddenly like seek out watching people poo. No, but you would have no, if somebody did it as a one-off on a stream, you would understand why they're doing it and feel the joy of that more than any of your repression around pooing in public. What do you think about Debbie? Give us some feedback. I'm just going to get my coffee, which should be finished. Oh, bloody hell, that needs more. That needs a bit more. It's only half a cup. It's because I put so much blooming coffee in. It's like rocket fuel, my morning coffees. Crazy. So I am, for the first time, considering whether this time would... I mean, it's a weekend, isn't it? So I could have easily done one at 6 p.m. But also, I'd have been super bashed at 6 p.m. So this as a smoker, this time does work for me because it means it's the most sober part of my day. But the last 2 nights when I've woken up, I've been like, am I really doing this? Am I really... I don't know if I am destroying my sleep pattern because I'm going to sleep about... Yeah, it's not that good, actually. I'm going to sleep, it's probably more like 10 p.m. I'd like to say 9 p.m., but if it's 10 p.m. but that's still 5 hours. So then I woke up at 3 a.m. and that's 5 hours. Right, so this time I woke up and I didn't check my phone straight away. I didn't check the time straight away. I didn't make this a priority straight away. You know, I made a priority, like my body and what does my body want. No, I woke up at 1:30. Yeah, I woke up at 1:30 and I did check my phone. And I thought, no, you've had 3 hours sleep. Like, no. The part of me that honored my body was stronger for the first time than the ego in me, essentially, that wants to live stream. And it was just like, no, we're not doing this. Back to sleep. And then at 3 o'clock, woke up, looked at the time. I thought, okay, it's now or never. Although I've loosened on that as well. I've decided that I could start streaming at 11 p.m. UK time if it means I get more sleep, and that's worth it. You know, obviously I'll get less viewers and less money and all that, but you know, my sleep is more important. So today I woke up at 3:15 and was just like, I'm just going to lie here and see what happens. You know, I'm open to streaming, but I'm also very much open to going back to sleep. And then the excitement got a bit too much. You know, the excitement over streaming got a bit too much. And suddenly I realized I wasn't going back to sleep. So I might as well just do it. But the last 2 nights, I've really questioned it. But then, you know, they've also, like last night's was the most lucrative ever. I think it was 20 super chats. And then tonight, obviously we've got the generous ladies in. So it is, you know, and I also really enjoy it. But then where it leads to is this. Say we do 3 or 4 hours. It's then 6, 7 in the morning for me. I'm a bit wired because this is kind of like a drug. And is that another one? So it's kind of hard to come down. And I end up smoking. And then that's kind of like the end of my day. But then also I don't really have anything to do, so it doesn't really matter. And the English refugee content still seems to be great. I mean, I'll find out when I release it, but I'm pretty sure it's good. And I still chat to Lee. Okay, the group is a bit much for me, and I'm sure if I wasn't smoking, I'd have done that by now. But yeah, I just don't shame it. I don't care anymore. But it does, you know, even though technically I'm getting the hours sleep that I would get anyway, almost, it's definitely not healthy. It's definitely, you know, not good for a body waking up at 3 in the morning and getting on a computer. Like, no, that's really shit. But, you know, it's how I make my money. So, you know, it's not as shit as working in a Chinese school teaching them English 40 hours a week. You know, it's not as shit as anything I'd be doing in the UK. So I don't know, maybe I should just be really grateful. I am really grateful. I think it's fantastic that I can earn money like this. And I am very grateful to you guys, particularly this one, and this one, and this one. And of course, you know, there has to be a particular, you know, I don't want to make it about the amounts, but there has to be an acknowledgement that this woman is incredibly generous and is literally single-handedly changing my life financially. So thank you to the Irish wonder that is Heart of Hearts. Debbie has an answer, maybe. She's had enough shit with 4 quid. It's a really good answer. Debbie's had enough shit, thanks. 4 kids and foreigners pooing in the streets. All right, Debbie, that's good enough for me. But if anything, you should be totally desensitized to it and would not even bat an eyelid. I mean, I accept the foreigners in the streets could have traumatized you to a point where you now have a reaction to it. But I would have thought the 4 kids bit would have totally desensitized. Oh my God, just brought up a memory for me when my mum, so my sister's like 2 or something, and she's just got snot streaming out of her nose, like really thick. And my mum just goes like that and eats it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like I'm freaking out. And she's like, oh, when you're a mother, you know, you don't even notice. What's your thoughts on that, Debbie? Have you eaten your baby's bogies? And I mean like streaming snot. Not like a nice chewy one that you find in the back. You're like, no, I mean like streaming snot. Disgusting. And I'm sure she's right. I'm sure if I had a kid, I'd probably be the same. But as a non-parent, I saw this when I was 8 and freaked out. And it still makes me shudder now. But as a non-parent, I just can't relate to it. I mean, okay, dogs is the closest I've got. Right, so when a dog I love, and even maybe a dog I don't love, has sneezed snot in my face, it's not a big issue for me. But I'm not going to go, you know, I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm probably going to wash my face afterwards. I'm definitely not going to lick it. I think that's the closest. If a dog shat on me, I'd be mortified. Dog pissed on me, yeah, that would be fairly similar. I'll just wash that off. It wouldn't bother me too much. But there's a big difference between that and eating it. I couldn't eat it. So, is my mother a freak, or is that a normal mother thing? There's certainly plenty of women in the chat that can give me some feedback on that. Still not full. What a life. Ooh. Okay, where we at? Soon Brand will be as enlightened as us. It's only a matter of time. So who's us? Do you mean you and me, or are you including like depressed people like this or paranoid people like this? I think us is, you know, meaningless. You know, please be more specific if you want a proper answer. So, as enlightened as us, I'm going to take that to mean you and me, because, you know, otherwise we can't even speak into it. And I'm assuming that you think you're enlightened and you think that I'm enlightened. I'm not really agreeing with that, but, you know, I'm trying to decipher your comment. None of it's relevant because Band is a shill. You know, you honestly think that somebody who was part of the 2012 Olympics is anything other than a shill? You think that somebody that was stood on top of a bus in the 2012 Olympic ceremony, which was the most satanic thing I'd ever seen up to that point. We've seen worse since then. But he was on a bus that was going around in like squiggles in like that didn't make any sense, no straight lines, and he was kind of like doing this and doing this, and it was very clear even then and obvious now that it's like he's leading the lost, who are all in squiggles, who are not walking the line, and he's the leader of the lost, and he's also lost, and now he's doing the whole Jesus thing. So it's obvious, and it's not just Jesus; it's Catholicism. Like it's evil, really evil. I mean, all of the whole Jesus thing is, you could say that, but definitely the Catholics are very evil. So. And of course, I don't mean your average Joe pleb that's just grabbed onto it out of desperation. I mean like the priests and, the Pope, incredibly evil. I mean, he's demonic, like we've seen pictures of him going into tunnels where people have no ears, demons. Last week, he was out shaking the hands of all the bioweapons, like disgusting, absolute evil. And then you've got the priests, shagging kids. So Russell Brand is a shill to take you into demonism. I don't think any more needs to be said. I don't think the first part that I was speaking into about who's enlightened and what is enlightenment and why are you using such a loose phrase like us. The reason you're using a loose phrase like us is because you want to water down enlightenment, because you want to pretend that you're enlightened. Now, I don't know you, maybe you are, but I can tell by that comment you're not. Yeah, I mean, we're going back a long time now. I didn't like Russell Brand after what he did to Manuel at Fawlty Towers. What I'm not into is writing someone off because of a mistake. I would write Russell Brand off because of who he is currently. I agree that wasn't good. And, said a lot about him that is undesirable. But I just really believe in the journey of transformation, because I've seen it in myself and others. So I really think this whole writing people off for something that happened 15 years ago is the ego, is just the ego wanting to make everything small and controllable and easy. But I do agree that act was not good. But yeah, who cares about that when he's trying to get people to worship a demon? I think that's much more concerning. Yeah, Kerry gets it, man. The pixie in the forest. I don't worship anything. I don't like the meaning of a word because I'm not confined by religion. Yeah, I mean, worship is just ridiculous. It's just what the disempowered do, and it's so much easier than doing the work. It's not really, but, it seems easier in the moment. Putting it out there. If I can just, so I got super desperate when I was in jail in Thailand. And I turned to Jesus, and it was so great. It was so reassuring. The ego loves it because he doesn't have to take any responsibility. It's like, and you can convince that I could convince myself of it, like I could feel some warmth or some relief, but it was only because I was so desperate and so lost. But if I just listened to someone talking about Jesus, it was like, oh, there is something there that will rescue me. Like, oh, and then of course, once you create that, you defend it with your life. And this is how delusion works, how the ego works. Like, it feels safe with this, so it's going to defend that, and anything that's against it is going to be called demonic and is going to be dismissed. And you see it so strongly in Christians, like that's how they operate. Because they can't, it's their only hope, it's their only coping mechanism. If they let go of it, it's way too much. God, I mean, plebs like this saying what is the truth. I mean, this is just incredible. So any enlightened person will never claim to know the truth, because they'll know that the truth is always unfolding and that consciousness is always expanding. But like when you get people like this who literally want to die, who have, whose lives are a complete disaster, and they are telling us whether there's a God or not. I mean, this is why they are like they are. This is why they're so depressed. This is why they're so repressed and restricted, because they're they're still allowing their ego to tell them they know something. And therefore it controls them, and therefore they have very small, shallow lives. This is another one. What do you do when you vote? You're a dead... Oh, God, it's so boring. Well done, great. External 3D fear, like, yes, it's all true. But like, are you not going to move on? Are you not going to go internal? Are you not going to do the actual thing that will change your life? Oh, no, you're just going to keep focusing on all the demonic stuff outside of you. Oh, okay, great. Oh, my God. It's so hard to read. This is why I don't think I can put these lives on Not Today Satan, because we're just going to get loads of stuff like this, and it's just all fear. It's so boring, and it is true on a level, but it's a very boring, low consciousness level. I'm just not here to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Right, let's see how enlightened this one who claims to be enlightened is. The vote is just a means the state uses to see if they should continue doubling down with the illusion of choice game. It's looking good. The turnout and way the vote is divided controls the pace by which... Right, so this is very different. Whilst it is speaking of the external, this is very different to this. This has major fear vibration, major I'm a victim vibration. It has victim vibration all over it. That's what it has. This doesn't. This is speaking into the external, but with wisdom and with detachment. You can sense the detachment in this comment. So this is a comment I've just read out. You can sense the detachment in this comment. In this comment, you sense complete attachment, and C plebs as well as the same. Complete attachment. They're completely in it. They see it for what it is, but they're completely in it, and they don't really see it for what it really is. But they see it for what it is on a surface level. Whereas this is seeing it for what it is, detaching from it, moving beyond it, because this person has at least started to go internal. Like this person might be well on the journey. Judging by their first comment, not. Judging by this comment, possibly. Oh, yeah. So this person's definitely gone internal to restrict your freedoms. Yeah, this person is definitely way further on the journey than this person. And this person. And, you know, I'm not knocking, you know, you'll feel like it's a knock because you have the ego and you'll get all defensive now and angry and do whatever you will do. But from my point of view, I'm just stating the obvious truth. I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not judging anyone. I'm not trying to get at anyone. It's just very clear to me that, you know, these are the levels that these people are at. And I'm going to state that in my live stream. And it's actually, you know, to help you. And I know it won't help you because I know that you're just spinning and you don't want to help yourself. But, you know, it might help someone else. And that's all I care about. Okay, potential new enlightened person in the chat. The idea of an afterlife. Okay, great. So this is honesty. This is vulnerability. So this person isn't enlightened, otherwise they won't be terrified. But they're definitely on the journey and they're open and they're vulnerable. So enlightenment is inevitable. Wow, I like you. I hope we see more of you. The idea, I just love vulnerability, man. There's so few people that can do this. The idea of an afterlife terrifies me also. I do not want to remember anything about what I've experienced in this realm. Amazing, amazing. I mean, it's obviously of fear, but of course, when you're on the journey of moving from fear to love, basically, or scarcity to trust. So it's really important that one can be this honest and be this honest with themselves, and then to be able to do it in front of others is wow. It just shows me that you're on a very powerful journey, and all this will transmute very soon. I don't want to remember anything about what I've experienced in Israel. Yeah, so it's very human-centric, it's very egoic, it's very placing you're assuming that the soul, let's just use that language, will place importance on your experiences in this life. No, not really. I mean, there's going to be some karmatic lessons it takes with it, but it's not. The stories are not going to even be relevant. They're not even going to be remembered. To the soul, you're completely irrelevant. I mean, that's not quite true, but you know, basically. So this is a story of the ego. This is a story. The ego is placing importance on its experiences in this meaningless life. But it's kind of not meaningless, but from this perspective, let's just say it's meaningless. So this is your ego still controlling you and hanging on, or you know. So as you're awakening, which you clearly are, and you're clearly very far on that journey. You might not feel like you're very far, but you know, compared to the masses, you are very far. And so the ego is very clever, and it twists and transforms. So it becomes the spiritual ego. In many cases, Awaken Brave being a wonderful example of that, or Juru. I do not want to remember. All right, so I had something specific. So whilst you are, I want to be really clear that you are really doing it, and you're really doing the work. There's no criticism of you when I say this is of the ego, because the ego, like my ego, is still hoodwinking me. You know, it's very clever how it works. So the ego is still got enough of a hold to make you pretend that your life experiences in this life are so important that they're going to be important to whatever you are afterwards. Let's just call it your soul. Nonsense, but understandable nonsense. It's all just part of a shadow dance. Yeah, I just really look forward to you breaking out of this fear, because it's inevitable. It's going to happen, and to be terrified of an afterlife, it only comes because you have no trust. If you had trust for self, God, same thing, but it probably starts with God, let's say. No, who knows? You know, it's different for everyone, but you know, it's basically the same thing. If you had trust, just trust, that's all, you know, it's just trust, then of course you wouldn't be scared of the afterlife. And there's still a part of me that's scared of the afterlife. It's a part of me that's scared of taking DMT. It's a part of me that has a story that whenever he has tried to allow DMT to show him more, he's freaked out and not been able to surrender. And I'm pretty sure that, I'm not pretty sure, that's just a silly statement. I think there's a distinct possibility that passing over will be very similar to a DMT experience. So if you can't surrender to a DMT experience, then can you surrender to passing over? Probably not. So, so there's a part of me that fears death, but not to a point where I'm making up stories about remembering what happened to me in this life and placing, you know, over importance on this one life out of thousands, probably. No. I think it's just karmatic. I think you take, and again, no one understands what karma is either. So the way I see karma is it's basically like what takes you away from the balance, from the alignment. So for example, so last night I killed a grasshopper. It was, you know, I was going to bed and it was bouncing around my room. So I could either have like got out of sleep mode, got a cup, taken it outside, or I could have just zapped it. So obviously I just zapped it. But when I did it, I could feel like, oh, I don't really want to do this. And I could feel like, so say this is aligned, this is balanced, this is moving on in the afterlife in an easy transition. So let's just say not coming back to Earth, maybe, but you know, I wouldn't use that language anymore. I'd just say an easy transition. So that's an aligned Tom that can do that, aligned Tom soul. But killing a grasshopper has put me here. You know, karmatically, it's taken me out of alignment. It's not about punishment and judgment, which is how plebs understand it. It's about like misalignment. So, you know, if I was to snort some white powder and get fisted, I'm going to end up here, you know. It's not, but there's no guy with a white beard on a cloud judging me and going, oh, like, that's bad karma. It's about your alignment, your balance, so your energy. This is funny. Plebs, I have seen death. I am not afraid of coming back as long as I don't come back as a brownie. And it's very funny, but I don't think it's true because I'm pretty sure in a previous comment you were saying how much you hate this life. But it is funny. You do have a good sense of humor. Well, I think it's, repression. So Debbie is asking C Plebs why he can't live in nature. Living in nature comes with the work. It's a reflection of the internal. And of course, C Plebs lives in a city. You can see it in all of his comments. He's got city energy. He's got repression. He's got shame. He's got fear. So of course he lives in a city. Yeah, I don't know. Is this some point to me? Charlie Veach has said he loves Israel. Yeah, I know. Do you think you're telling me something? Do you think that contradicts anything I've said? Are you retarded? Debbie again, she's on a right roll. Admittedly, you have supporters for a poo live, Tom. Go for it, ha ha ha. So people are on it, have they? I haven't got to that part of the chat yet. I'm more interested in, can you spot the layers of repression in you that create this story, rather than what the general masses think. Okay, I like this person. I watched Jake Hager get knocked out by a slap in a slap fight sport that seems to be getting more popular these days. Slaps. Is it called slaps? I know what you're talking about. It's unbelievable. It's steps towards Hunger Games, this. This is desensitizing us towards Hunger Games. It's the first steps towards that. Watching, and obviously UFC was a step before that, and WF was a step before that, and boxing was a step before that. They're programming us to get joy from watching people in pain. And soon that will be watching people getting offed. Squid Games is obviously conditioning for it. And Hunger Games is ultimately where we're going. And obviously that's predictive programming. Slaps, when I first thought, oh, there's a new one. No, right. So they're taking it to another level now where they charge at each other. Have you seen that? So the two big men at each end run at each other and smash into each other. And it's like, who can stand up fast? Like, who can not get knocked over? Well, what's next? Next is going to be death. And people are like, yeah. Well, once you've got people to cheer for that, then the Hunger Games is right around the corner. It's getting more popular these days. This has more of a payoff than any football match. I don't get it. It sounds like you're being positive about it, which I totally disagree with. More payoff than any football match. I don't get it. More drama, more. You get more out of it. Is that what you're saying? Well, then, oh dear. Then you're as possessed. And don't worry, everyone's possessed. It's not as big a deal as you think. How old were you when you realized that you were a bit Brighton Pier? Oh, very Brighton Pier. Well, no, I'm not, because I'm not camp and I'm not into all their bullshit and I don't identify as it. So I think that Brighton Pier to me feels like, hiya! And like, just fag stuff, as in smoking cigarettes, YouTube. So I'm not Brighton Pier. I hate gays and I hate the gay scene. I hate the culture. I hate it all. I just like shagging them. But so let's change the question. How old were you when you realized that you liked the D? Oliver Marcroft was the first one. I think I was 12 or 13. I was just like, oh no, that's not true. Alex Mitchell was the first one. So that was year 4. So I always wanted a best friend. I wasn't interested in groups. Now that kind of fits into being a shadow worker, being authentic, wanting real connection, like, because it always has to be one-on-one. But also I wonder how much of it was gay, how much of it was me, like, basically making him my boyfriend. So Alex Mitchell was beautiful. Like, he was the best looking kid in our year. And he was a model. So me and him were best friends for, let's say, a year, and that was the first time I noticed a pull that I didn't understand. I remember dropping my rubber and kissing his shoe under a desk. Dropping my rubber. But I didn't. He wasn't sexual at that point. I didn't really understand it. And then Oliver Markov was next. So this is probably about 14. So this is someone I played squash with, like really top squash player. Just one of those naturally gifted kids who was intelligent, good looking, and top athlete. Like, played for Sheffield United juniors and all that. And, could have become a professional squash player if he'd chosen to, but he chose not to. Squash players make no money. So with him, it was the first time I found myself so I would masturbate over a girl called Sarah Vigil because I was so scared of masturbating over anything else. And then Oliver Markov would pop in. And I'd just be like, whoa, what's that? That's not good. And then obviously that started to snowball. So I started masturbating over the idea of rubbing my stick in between his bum and a chair. So it's not gay. I'm not penetrating, this is fine. For some reason, I just need to masturbate over this, but I'm definitely not gay. And I think I basically stayed in that energy until I was about 18, and then it crumbled. And I can remember, ironically, Oliver Markov and his mates were probably my best customers. I was selling green herbs at this point. And I remember this one Friday night where, I assume it was a Friday night, because they were all going out. They came out to buy weed, and I was done. I was going to end myself, because I couldn't accept it. And I was on my bed, I don't know if I was crying because I probably wasn't open enough to cry, but I was, in fetus position, I was done. They'd come round to buy some ganja, and I just about managed to do that. And then I went back to my fetal position, and they were like, "What's up, man? What's up?" And I was just like, "Just go away, just go away." And then I opened, so it was either end yourself or open up, So I decided to open up, and I told my housemate, so this is at 18, I told a female housemate, and she was really good. And she was like, "It's fine, but I don't know what to do with it. Here's my gay friend," and gave me a number for her gay friend who was very gay. So then I met him and had my first gay experience, and, decided I had to come out, and told my mum. She reacted really well. She told my dad. He sent me a really nice text. And then I went out with, and then I told another woman, and I told Oliver Markov. I didn't tell him, but I'd been obsessed with him for 5 years. I just told him I was a bender, and he reacted really well. And then a big moment for me was I was out. So and then that was it. I kind of stopped there for a month, let's say. I don't know how long it was, but it won't have been much longer than a month. And that was kind of it. I told a few people, and that was it. And then I went out clubbing with Ollie Markov and his mates, and at like 3 a.m, I'm off my head. I've taken like 15 E's or whatever. And he goes, "Have my mates been any different with you tonight?" And I went, "No." And he went, "Oh, good, because they all know." And that was a massive moment. I was just like, "Oh, wow, thank you, man." And that was kind of, I think that was it. And then I just came out, and that was it. Yes, fair enough. Apologies if I went over the top with your comment. Charlie identifies as a Zionist. That's all I meant, and it's true. I agree. So obviously when I get comments, I try and break them down, speak into it, and try and make it psychological, because that's what I feel is of most benefit to humanity. I'm not saying I always get it right, and I apologize if I spoke into your comment more than you meant and made something more of it than it was. But just appreciate I'm trying to make the live interesting, and I also have a dedication to wisdom. What you said about Norway winning the World Cup makes so much sense. I've heard people saying it's going to be a white boy summer. Yeah, I think so. I'm not certain they're going to win, but I'm fairly sure. I mean, what's the score with England? Are they going to beat England? I'm fairly sure they're going to get to the semis or the final, which would be, for Norway, a massive win. But I think they might go full hog and win it. Yeah, I really think so. They want the uprising. They don't care about the bioweapons. They haven't bought them here because they're humanitarian. They bought them here because they want chaos and they want civil war. So obviously they're going to, there was that film that a load of people, I don't even know what it was, but a film got released recently and people thought that it was, a truth film, Citizen Vigilante or Journal or something like that. And, obviously I just don't pay any attention to this anymore because I know exactly what it is. Of course, they've made it themselves. And of course, they're making it look like states are banning it. And of course, their chief freedom demon puppet thing, Elon Musk, is going to tweet about it. And as if it's like, oh, I'm against the government. I'm letting you know. It's just all so obvious. I can't believe people fall for it. But then I used to fall for it, so that's fine. And I think that was all about bigging up the white man, essentially, wasn't it? So obviously that's the next stage. So it's going to look quite nice for us, but it's all just bullshit. So yeah, I think they want us. I think they want Europeans to wake up to a point and get angry. I think that fits in with what they're going to do next perfectly. And then the fact that you're hearing it's going to be people that look like us summer. Oh, it's you. I like you. I really like you, mate. Yeah. Yeah, you can just see it all. Like it's perfectly playing out, isn't it? But also, there's no organization. So yes, it's going to be a people like that summer, but they're not going to be organized. And that's exactly what the state wants. So that's why the state wants it so bad, so fast, because we will get organized eventually. And if we wait till then, they've got no chance. But we won't wait till then. We're just going to go out in anger without any thought and any organization. And they'll pick us off very easily. And they'll shame us and, all that. Love it, Debbie. So yeah, I'm not really going to speak into it. I just wanted to put it on screen. But for those listening, Debbie, my life has already been given responsibility forever, but I'm working on me, which I've never done before. Amazing. She's doing so great. All right, here's this interesting one. Virillion, not sure what that is, told us back in the 70s that money is energy and that false prophets and guides will put it to evil ends. Oof, aren't you good? Yeah, I've heard England are going to win it in 2030, and I think I might have just heard it in a comment on here, so it means nothing. But that would, it would also play into this. Although by then it's really not going to be England. Will there be one player that looks like us in 2030? I don't know the team well enough to be able to say if there's a really good youngster or not, but you would have said Phil Foden 4 years ago, wouldn't you? And he's not even in the team. So. Alternatively, it could be rigged for the Afro England to win. Yeah, that would be no, it wouldn't be the same, would it? Because it's Afro, like you said. So no, I don't think that would have the same impact. I think seeing this beautiful Viking, essentially it's Haaland that will win the World Cup, isn't it? It's not Norway. Actually, I think they are quite a good team. I don't know. I don't watch football. I watch Sheffield Wednesday, but I don't watch any other football. But essentially, this pinnacle of man, the best. There's another one in the team, isn't there, that's literally stunning. I don't know what his name is, but I think there's a midfielder, but there's a Norwegian player, or it might be a Swedish player, that's just stunning, like a god. Haaland isn't quite on that level, but he's a fantastically example of physical prowess. And he's got, the blue eyes, the blonde hair, the big muscles, the height. So there's something much more powerful about Norway winning than England, because it is what we're talking about. It is showing, it will allow people to believe the untruth that some races are superior than others, which of course is not true. I am not saying that. I believe diversity is our strength. But, if people see the only team that look like us winning, and there's some really good looking, perfect examples of masculines in there, men in there, then it's just going to fuel this, like, why are we being told that diversity is our strength? Even though it is, of course. I wonder if we're getting to a point where I don't have to do that so much anymore. Because I think, this is part of it, like they're exposing that it isn't our strength, and soon it will be okay to say that. Well, actually, no, it won't be, because what they want is the whole double speak thing. So they want it to be very clear that it's not our strength, which I think we're there. But if you say it, you go to prison. So it's this like disconnection with truth, to the point where you get to like China, where no one will even speak about politics, or like they're scared of their neighbors hearing them speak about politics, and they won't even speak about it with their children, and their children will shop them in, and you can really see that with the whole libtard thing and the blue hair thing and the trans thing. Like when I first heard about in China in Mao's time, children dobbing in their parents, being like, how does that happen? But you can see it now in our society. Like, of course, the children of today would dob in their parents. Of course. The septum-pierced, blue-haired, demonic, that once you send your kids to university, they hate you. It's over. You spend all this money to get your kid to hate you. But before university now, even, like, kids are so indoctrinated and so hateful. Understandably, because the environment they've been brought into is horrendous. They hate their parents. Of course they dob them in. Like, they want to, many of them probably want their parents dead. So, it's really easy to see how that happens now. What the fuck, man? I'm not reading it out, and I don't know the contents, but it's funny, man. You are funny. You have quite an openness for someone in your energetic vibration. Whilst there's, I can see a lot of oppression in a lot of ways, I also see an openness. Lean into that more. Oh, right, I think this might be when you were getting the sound effects. Oh, you're just so lovely, Kerry. You're so lovely. I just want to get your little pixie cheeks. Oh, yeah. No, I don't really want to do that bit. I just want, oh. You're so beautiful, man. I love it. The lions came from the House of Normandy and the House of Plantagenet family crests. Okay, and why were they on those crests? I feel like I've heard a bit more than that. I feel, that, okay, like, I feel like when I heard the explanation that I understood, I was like, oh, okay, that does make, there is something in that. Whereas for me, this is just another layer of the like, why though? I can understand why a family would decide to have lions on their crest just because of what they represent. So maybe that's it. But then for us to adopt it, and what's the relevance of these families? So presumably these families became kings and queens. I know nothing about this, so you'll have to tell me more. But thanks. Why would you be arrested at an airport? Well, good question. I don't think I should be arrested at an airport. However, and I think the chances are I wouldn't be. I don't think I'm significant. But I did have, and soon will have again, on the 15th of this month, a channel with 40,000 subscribers where I say things that people have been put into prison for. So that's my reasoning. So free speech would be an easy, or lack of free speech would be the easy way to answer that question. I don't know the context, but the third line is the reason I brought this up, because it's funny. He took a photo of my boy and posted it on his Instagram. This is Kerry, the amazing Irish pixie, on his Instagram. Said my boy was so polite, my adorable pleb son is still buzzing. I love that you've just referred to your son like that. I was chuffed to hear he was getting a bus. Why are you calling your son a pleb son? He sounds very young. So he sounds too young to be labeling him as a pleb. So, you know, in terms of like, if I really analyze it in terms of like, what's the ideal way to parent a kid, I'm not sure I'm for this. But obviously I don't know the context, and I'm not questioning your parenting skills at all, yet. But, you know, I'm pretty sure this is humorous more than, I want you to speak into it more. The question is, why are you calling your son a pleb, and how old is he? Good evening, Bumblebee. Yes. I don't think there's anyone in this chat that will disagree with you. My question about the UK was from the second perspective. Oh, I can't remember what they were now. Yeah, sorry, you need to break it down more than that. Like, you can't expect me to remember what I've said. I mean, I kind of remember saying there's two possibilities of what you were saying, but I can't remember which way around they were and which either of them were. You are dealing with a hopeless pothead here, don't forget. Norway have scored! Is it the Viking man? Yeah, wow, I think it's going to play out. I think it's going to play out. So what are we in? Are we in the quarterfinals? So if that's true, then Norway are 2 games away. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to do it. Now, why are they fixing it for Argentina so much? I mean, they very much look like this, and they're very racist as well, nationalist, honest, real. So maybe they want the racists to win, to empower all these horrendous far right Nazis. Yeah, it would work pretty well if it was Argentina or Norway. I feel like it would be more powerful if it was Norway, because it's European, it's more relatable, it's more this, and it's more of an underdog story, so it would be more powerful. So it's 1-0 to Norway, is it? Hang on, are we that far behind? Oh wow, I need to get down the chat. That was ages ago, but it's still very much appreciated. Thank you, Artifacts. I got someone in the comments the other day saying, it's okay, mate, it's coming home. So obviously I just ripped them apart. Why do you care when it's a team of Africans? I just don't understand. See you later, Kerry. Love you. Although you've already gone because I'm way behind. Right, let's get down the chat a bit. How long have we done? 2 hours. I would appreciate some. So I'm not demanding, because, you know, I've had lots of generosity. Once Heart of Hearts is around, you know, it feels wrong to threaten you over money. But just to let you know, like, my energy is waning a little bit, and a donation would help motivate. Of course, any large YouTuber is going to rein themselves in or consider financial harms with respect to how much truth they are prepared to share. Yeah, it's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult one. I'm fairly certain that I will always value truth over finances or numbers. I feel like I've already proven that to myself. I don't need to prove anything to you, obviously. Whether you can see it or not is dependent on your condition and your repression and all of that. Let's get this lovely sky involved. You know, it's about proving it to myself, because obviously you always question, you know, and you're coming from, you know, repression, indoctrination to authenticity, truth, wisdom. So, you know, it's like, there was a time in my life where I would have chosen money, of course. So it's like, you know, you're constantly testing that. Is that still true? And I've proved to myself that that's no longer true. So, yeah, but I'm very unique. In general, I totally agree with what you're saying. Totally agree. I mean, you can see Neil McCoy Ward biting his tongue. You know, and understandably so. I'm not criticizing him at all. He's created something amazing. He's got a huge YouTube channel. He's got all these, I've no doubt, very worthwhile courses. I've never done one, but, you know, I've no doubt that his courses are fantastic. He's making shitloads of money. And he is also spreading a good message. So it's not just about self-preservation. It's like judging, you know, there's no point destroying your channel for the truth. Like, because if your channel is gone, then no truth at all is being shared. So it's this dance, it's this balancing act, isn't it? Now most people, the materialism will define that, like Neil McCoy Ward, for example, and you know, it's also, he's very intelligent and he knows that there's no point destroying his channel, but he's also, you know, still quite materialistic, or values hordes of money, let's say. And I'm not making that wrong, like, it's just where he's at, and he's a beautiful expression of a human being, I think. But yeah, it's inevitable, isn't it? And then look at the office worker who's even, you know, obviously way worse than this, who will literally, like, not even say their beliefs to their friends, their mum, if they were to even utter at work that, you know, maybe we should alter migration a little bit, they've lost their job straight away. So, you know, it's the ultimate sellout, is having a job. And then, you know, the YouTuber has a bit more freedom, but not much, in terms of this. So yeah, it's really understandable. And of course I do it as well. Like, this, you know, all the code of language I use, you know, that's not through choice. That's because I will lose my channel. So, and there's certain people I'd like to talk about that I don't talk about, or if I talk about, I use very coded language. So yeah, I mean, it's just sensible, isn't it? It's understanding the rules of the game we're in, or the constraints of the game that we're currently in, and the current constraints, which are of course always changing. So yeah, I think it's wise to play this game, but of course there's also valuing money more than truth, which I don't agree with, but I can understand why people do it on the steps of their journey. All right, we're going to need another poo break, I think. I'm going to try and do another half hour, and if we get more donations in that time, I'll do a bit longer. What's made you shit yourself? I'm just wondering if we're getting to the poo bit of the chat, and because I want to get your, so there seems to be a lot of poo chat. Who wants to see Tom poo? I said yes or no in the comments. I would say yes, as long as we don't see his bum hole. Indians are good people, though. Oh, gosh, really, I'm really agreeing with a lot of what you say. I'm really disagreeing with a lot of what you say. My friend, whose name I've forgotten, Patreon member, is pissed up. Having seen his poo in the forest that was luminous yellow, it would be interesting to see what other colours can come out of his ass. Oh, I do like you, sea plebs. Even if the fingers have bacteria on them from fecal matter, pop splashes, no Tom never. Bedtime, that's grim. Why would the mother eat the kid's snot? Are you a parent? I don't think you can have a perspective on this unless you're a parent, because I totally agree with you, but I don't think until you've experienced what they call love for their child, I mean, I think in most cases it's neediness and validation. But of course, there's a little bit of love in there. But, you know, so my mum would claim the most strongest, unconditional, never-ending love for me and her grandchildren, and obviously anything that's come out of her and subsequently come out of that, I'm gonna have to go on shit. Yet she won't read a book about jib jabs, so I don't think that's love. Oh yeah, I better put a cow. You know, if you love something, you protect it. And she's not even prepared to read a book that would protect its life. Oh, it's like fireworks. Ass fireworks. I wonder if I'll ever take myself seriously enough to not poo on live stream. I mean, there's no way I can not poo on live stream. I mean, not take my microphone with me. There's no way I can get through 4 hours at this time of day without regular ass squirts. Why can't I switch the aircon on? What the fuck? Yeah, so I got all Yorkshireman about the air conditioning yesterday, like I said I would, and it stopped me from opening that door. And I want to open that door after this live stream because I think it's important to get fresh air in. All right, so it seems like we are waning massively. We're down to 32 people. Was it my ass squirts that did it? Yeah, it's an interesting one. Would I make a good dad? Yeah, I think I would. But I also make a good teacher to the masses. And I feel like that's my calling. I feel like to focus it all into a child would be less impactful than serving the people. And also my life just isn't practically geared up to that. Like, I don't like women in every way. So I don't know, man. Like, I look at Mo, who was briefly in one of my videos. So this is the partner of the body worker. So the body worker is 25, something like that, maybe 28, I think 25. And Momo is 55. And you can totally see why they're together. Like, she needs a man. Like, she can't date a little boy like me, for example. So when you're as wise as she is, you need a man that can lead you. And essentially, in this society, you're not going to find that under the age of 50. So, so it makes total sense why there's this huge age gap between them. It's gone too dark, hasn't it? Anyway, so they've not had kids. I don't think Momo's a dad. He might have previous kids, but I don't think he does. And they're going to have kids. So he's going to become a dad at 55, 56, 57. And seeing that did bring a bit of a sense of relief to me, because there is definitely a part of me who would like to be a dad and thinks he'd do a really good job. Maybe not yet, but isn't far from doing a really good job. The Tom that I will be in 2 years, I think would do a really good job. And I think the Tom now would be pretty sufficient. Now, obviously, I'm not comparing myself to plebs. Like, compared to plebs, I do an amazing job, of course. I mean, like, I'm speaking into it from where I would want to be as a dad, which is, very different to what any pleb would be able to comprehend. So, I can see in how my journey is unfolding. I am not so obsessed with dick. Noticing the attraction to females a little bit more, not being so repulsed by females, learning to respect them a little bit, which this chat really helps with, and the fact that all my donators are females and there's all these amazing women in the chat. Like, this is basically where I'm seeing it really playing out. So thank you, particularly to, Debbie, Kerry, and Heart of Heart. So yeah, there was definitely a sense of like, oh, it is actually possible for another 15 years. Because obviously, like, whilst in many ways I've accepted I'll never be a dad, there's always going to be that part of you that's like, but what if? And I really do appreciate that it brings a whole new dynamic to life that one can't even comprehend until they're a parent. A whole new level of dedication to something outside of you, a whole new perspective on life, a whole new responsibility created within yourself, and then a load of stuff that I can't even comprehend. So to miss out on that, whilst obviously also seeing the benefits in not having kids, i.e. I'm free, but I've been free for 40 years. At some point, I definitely think it'd be more beneficial to experience the responsibility rather than, the freedom. And also, there's a lot of conditioning in that. There's a lot of feminism in that. There's a lot of like, don't have kids and travel the world is the new ideal. But it just leads to absolute depression. And I'm not saying I'm depressed, but like, these women that choose this lifestyle absolutely end up very depressed. These cat women, basically. I think for a woman, it's crucial. I think a woman without kids is a very sad story. And I think it's probably true for men as well. Not quite so much, but I think ultimately it is. So yeah, I would like to have a kid. Right now, it seems just inconceivable, both in terms of how it would practically happen and the idea of, like, if there was a kid there now, like, what the fuck would I do? Well, I think I know what I'd do. I'd define the day around the kid, and there's also something around it bringing a new lease of life. Like, there's nothing out there I'm interested in. But if I'm seeing it through my kid's eyes, then suddenly it's all very interesting again. Going to the zoo is suddenly interesting, because how does my kid react when it sees the zebra, What's my kid learning? Getting joy from, I know just from owning a dog, like the joy that one gets from seeing your dog learn and develop is huge. So I imagine a kid is like that on steroids, on crack. So yeah, like, why would I not want to experience that? In fact, I think I've just talked myself into it. Should we have a kid? Are you sexy? Are you young? Have you got good genetics? Are you awake? Well, we've seen that you're probably not awake enough to be the parent of my child, but you are definitely on the journey. I feel sorry for those who found out how demented after they gave birth or fathered. I feel sorry for those who found out how demented they were after they gave birth or fathered. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think you're probably making quite a good point, but you haven't written it very well. Which is often a sign of enlightenment. Because I can't write either. And of course, I'm enlightened. All right, let's try and get towards the bottom of the chat and then wrap this up, unless someone sends some more money. Heart of Hearts has gone to bed. But Debbie is still around, I think, and she has contributed a lot tonight. So I feel a little bit of an obligation to continue. But also, I definitely need another donation to motivate me if I'm going to continue. So much assumption and story in this man. There's no surrender, there's no depth. Tom, if I can know whilst living how to dodge the reincarnation chat, I'll be, yeah, so because you're trying to control, you're terrified. Once you surrender and learn to trust, the fear goes. You can't dodge anything. You know, if that's possible, the only way is through enlightenment, and which is surrender, which is letting go of this story, is letting go of this desire, this need. And it genuinely, like, trust isn't, it's not a trick of a mind. It's not Christianity. It's not believing in Jesus. You're not lying to yourself. Trust is evidential. So as you learn to surrender, and you're already seeing this, I know you're already seeing this, you just haven't learned to fully trust it. And you are already surrendering. As you surrender more, you will be shown the evidence that you can trust more through how your life changes and how God, universe, self speaks to you through others and things around you. So, learning to trust will do what you state here. It will release you from a reincarnation trap, potentially. But also, it will stop you caring. It will stop you trying to control. It will stop you trying to define. It will stop you trying to, control is the best word. You are trying to, so this is of the ego. This fear is of the ego. And you are trying to solve it from the ego. So once I know how to dodge, so that's the ego trying to learn something to control the situation. So what you're actually doing is reinforcing the part of you that's scared. Rather than learning to trust, oh, Heart of Hearts is still here. Thought she'd gone to bed. Rather than learning to trust something bigger than you, which actually later on in the journey you'll find out is just you anyway, but let's not get lost in that. Something bigger than you. Let's start off with the concept of higher self, and you can call that whatever you want, God, whatever. But I think higher self will probably resonate with you. So once you learn to, once is the wrong word because you're already doing it. As you learn to trust that more and eventually see that it's actually you, then all of this goes away. All of this goes away. Does that help? And just to clarify, this was my framing for 10 years. This is what motivated me for 10 years. This is why I did the work for 10 years. Once the ending oneself trump card was taken out of my back pocket, so, you know, that was my escapism. That was my, well, I can just end it at any moment. That was my way of feeling like I was in control, because you're not in control of anything. And that's the scary part for your ego. And that's the process you're going on, moving from ego trying to tell itself it's in control, which this sentence comes from, to I don't control any of this. This is all pre-designed. This is all, there's no coincidence. It's all synchronicity. It seems that I have no say or no choice, and I'm just going to surrender to it because it actually all seems to unfold for my good. And that includes jail in Thailand, that includes all the bad stuff, because eventually you see why that happened and what that taught you and why it was essential for you to move to the next part, because you're never going to let go of this control without it being forced out. You know, you're never going to just naturally do this. You know, it's like, the universe pulling at your fingers. So if it, like jail in Thailand, or obviously I'm speaking about my journey, or losing a business, like with everyone, it forces you to crack. The ego to crack, because you'll never be able to do it without that, because the ego is so strong in all of us. This isn't personal to you. Now, don't tell me my microphone switched off. I don't know what made me check that. No one said anything about the sound, but oh no, it hasn't. God, it was really bad yesterday, wasn't it, when I took my microphone off for half an hour by mistake. Well, I took it off to shit because Lee was talking. And then I didn't put it on for half an hour. And like when I was listening back to it, I was like, put your microphone back on, Tom. It's so bad. And then I do Javoon's voice note with no microphone. And I'm holding it here and I've got no microphone. I'm surprised no one said anything in the comments because it was really bad. Oh, heart of hearts, you are so heartful. Tom, you're not reading the chat. I said it's heart to heart. Sorry. Why have I been saying that? Heart to heart, which makes so much more sense. And it is actually really important, heart to heart, because that is exactly what you are. I've been saying heart of hearts all this time, haven't I? So that's just because I'm a spazzy pothead. Don't take anything. I know you won't. Okay, noted. We'll change heart to heart. And there's no S's. Of course there's no S's. It's heart to heart connection. That makes so much more sense. It's a much more beautiful name and reflects your beauty perfectly. Heart to heart. And that's exactly, you know, how she lives. Look, man, like she's literally from her heart to my heart giving love in a way that my ego understands it and appreciates it. Your unbecoming is heartwarming, Tom. Unbecoming. Let's get a definition of unbecoming. This woman is super surrendered, super wise. Unbecoming, adjective, especially of clothing or colour, not flattering, of behaviour, not fitting or appropriate, unseemingly. It was unbecoming for a university to do anything so crass. Oh, okay, so I think this refers to my ass stuff. And just my whole general way, presumably. Oops, where are we? StreamYard. I don't want to be on StreamYard. Yeah, so I wonder how much of it is self-sabotage, childishness, not taking myself seriously, and how much of it is just wanting to prod at everyone's repression. I tell myself it's the second one, but it's probably a bit of both. It's probably more the first one, actually. It's probably more self-sabotage, childishness, not wanting to really take on the responsibility of what I may be. Let's just use the word teacher. So I'll do all this like shit stuff to make sure that I'm not that. It's probably that. What do you think, heart to heart? But also, so my story, my ego tells me that it's in service to the repressed shame vibration people that are watching me, and it's my way of saying you don't need to live in shame. What do you think, heart to heart? Where do you think the truth is on that spectrum of spectrumness? I was always cringing whenever Charlie would go on the defensive. Oh yeah, it's awful for the Izzy. Nice code. Yeah, so I've stopped watching him now, but it's not really about him. I've just stopped watching anything of low consciousness, essentially. Dopamine hits. I'm just much more interested in listening to, you know, stoic people, and I don't need to watch. But when I was still hanging on to the dopamine hits of Charlie Veitch, I would watch until he started talking about Izzy. I mean, I just have to switch it off. Okay, so I guess I'll be aiming for at least 3 hours now after heart to heart and her, or just the fact that she's still here, and I don't think she does it for that reason, but I feel like it deserves her money's worth. Football matches are less edge of seat than combat sports. That's what I mean by more of a payoff. So this is referring to the slap stuff. Yes, but can you see why it's edge of the seat and where it's leading to? The more brutal they are, the more of an impact in the minds of the now desensitized audience. Absolutely spot on. So true. What do you think about what I said about where this is leading, which is basically Hunger Games? But you're so right, and the fact that stuff like that is getting popular just shows how desensitized everyone is. Football isn't enough dopamine hits anymore. Why would I want the moment to be more lucid than it is already when it's causing me pain? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to. I imagine you're referring to me talking about surrender and stuff like that. Well, it's causing you pain because it's real to you and you're in it. Whereas if you become more what you call lucid, I would say surrendered, then you're moving beyond it. You're moving beyond the story that any of this is real and impacts you in any way. And also your reality will change. Sorry to everyone else, but this person is just way more interesting than you are. Not all of you, but most of you. England will get to the finals because the team has the better alien engineered DNA. Okay, so I'm not saying you're not right, but also very woo-woo, very story-based. And like, yeah, these stories might be true, alien DNA and all this, but it's what the ego loves. The ego wants to know and will therefore, so I'm aware of what you're speaking about. I'm aware of the reptilians and all that, but I've learned to hold it lightly with no definites because we really don't know anything. All we know is everything that they tell us is a lie. So there's way too much definite in this for me. And also, I think what we were talking about earlier was more interesting because that is more of this world and is more, we can speak into it with more definites, whereas this is just story. And that's not to say the story isn't true. If anything, I would err towards it probably is true, but it is story. And it is your ego grasping to understand and know. I think the lighting is going to be better if I sit here. And I also want to switch these lights off. The Yorkshireman in me the scarcity in me cannot take any more having those lights on when they're not really needed. Even though, really, it's going to cost another 5 pence to have them on for the rest of this live stream. And that is worth it. However, I think I've just proved that they're not necessary. To myself. Right, I'll try and get some comments from some other people, but most of them aren't interesting. This guy's kind of funny. Yeah, these two are almost interesting, but they're just a bit too external and negative. But totally understand that, and it's exactly where I've been, and it's part of the journey, and it's but it's just not really something I want to read out. What's Debbie saying? So basically, you've been reading the chat. It's all above me. The plans they have for us, I struggle to understand. I think that's meant to say. It's all, but fully aware we are not planned to win and have no choice of the outcome. Yeah, I mean, I would just lean into that last part more. That you have no choice of the external physical outcome. Well, that's not true. By doing what you're doing, the self-work, the inner journey, you do have control. Well, it's not control. It just starts changing. It just starts getting better, but you just have to go through a lot of shit first. But I would like to think that my life is evidence that the external reflects your internal, and everything gets better when you're doing the work. So that's the choice of outcome that you do have without being able to define the outcome. Isn't it fun? Kind of is, though. I can't be programmed, so this is to the paranoid one. I can't be programmed. I've tried for hours to sit in front of propaganda and for hours listening to people in my local area, what you would call friendship tattoos. Yeah, you're way past that. You're way past that. You've just got some, and when I say silly, like totally understandable and inevitable, but they are silly, ego stories around control, fear, afterlife, playing out, which, you know, I had to and is inevitable. But you're way past like others being able to program you. You know, you might fall for, you might still fall for, I don't know, let's say someone like Russell Brand, but a better example, you know, some sort of guru who's talking about the reincarnation trap. Like, yeah, you might still get hoodwinked that way, but you're not ever going to get hoodwinked by like mainstream media. Oh, it's 1-1 now, is it? Goal scorers' names, please. I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Been gunning from Da Nang here. I just brought it up because you mentioned Da Nang. I hated Da Nang. I hate all cities. So I went to live in Da Nang and I lasted not even a day. Michael's in the chat, really cool. So this is a guy that I did the video with that's gone down really well, the Yorkshireman. Just seeing the stream now, I am about to get my head down. So yeah, so Michael lives out here. So sounds like he's going to bed at like 4 a.m. or something. Great to have you with us, Michael, even though it seems like you're not currently with us. Right, subscribe to this man's channel. If you like my stuff, if you like Tom Greatorex, as in the channel, and the person that doesn't really exist, then click on this man's channel right now, get subscribed. I don't think he has any recent, so when I first shared his channel, he had 31 subs. I don't know how many he has now, but so his channel has only got old videos on, but he is going to start making new videos. So get subscribed because it's going to be really worthwhile. This man is amazing. Now, Lee is amazing, but he's inaccessible for most. The language he uses, the way he walks is just so far out there for the pleb, which we're all plebs in this chat, in this classification, compared to Lee. Maybe Michael, not so much, but the rest of us are. And Heart to Heart, maybe not. Definitely not, in fact. I think Michael and Heart to Heart are fairly close to Lee. The rest of us are nowhere near. Including me. So, what was I saying? All right, yeah. But Lee, for most people in this chat, is totally inaccessible, whereas Michael isn't. Michael has found a way of delivering deep wisdom, potential enlightenment, but let's just call it deep wisdom, in a really accessible way. So I highly recommend subscribing to this man's channel. Okay, so that's, I think Heart to Heart is talking about anal movements, but it's not directed to me and I have no context for it. I just bring her up because she's so generous. Like this. So I need to get to the bottom of the chat, don't I? Oh, right, Michael is contributing. I knew Charlie back in 2009-10. How interesting. Went to a few demos with him in Manchester, lost touch with him for a few years, then suddenly saw him pop up again a few months ago. Yeah, I'd like to get your perspective on how does one go from being awake to not awake? Is Charlie genuine? Yeah, he's popped up for you again a few months ago, but I don't think he ever stopped. Yeah, I know that's how you feel, Heart to Heart. Heart to Heart is saying, Tom, doesn't need to be here because Heart to Heart donated. Yeah, I knew you'd see it that way, but there's still a level of conditioning in me, I suppose. I mean, I feel like it's integrity, really, but yeah, okay, so it comes from a lack of belief, experience in my own giving is really what it is. That's then projected onto you. So if I give, whoa, no, don't do that. Right, so I still have a story that, like, I've recently realized that most of my patrons are on there because they want to support me. And I used to project my thoughts onto them, which was, if I'm giving someone money, I expect something in return. Right, so the first time I went to a peyote ceremony, I expected them to entertain me. I didn't realize that it was about me contributing. I didn't realize it was about me stepping up and learning through contribution. I was going to it like it was a concert, because that was my only framing for a man with a guitar. You know, I was expecting them to entertain me. I've lost it. You know, it's basically entitlement. You know, it's coming from a very entitled place. Oh, no, I'm back on now. I remembered. So I projected onto my Patreons that they expected entertaining for their money, i.e. extra videos. And I try and do that with early releases. Like, I mean, my Patreon right now is actually pretty good value for money because they're almost up to date with English Refugee. They will be up to date with English Refugee very soon. So basically, they've got 40 episodes. They're 40 episodes ahead. So that is good value for money, I think. But actually, I don't think most of them are there for that. I think most of them are there because they're just supporting me and they're seeing what I'm doing and they're supporting it. So it's like realizing, like, oh, wow, people just want to give. Like, people are just more heart-based than I've experienced in myself. And therefore, it's shocking to me that people are just giving with no expectation. And then recently, I've leaned into that with, you know, these cardboard collecting 90-year-olds in Vietnam, where you give them money with obviously no expectation. You don't want a BJ off them or anything like that. So I always throw myself off with these silly comments. So I'm starting to understand it, and I'm starting to act that way myself. So I've experienced enough of that in myself now to know that that was, without you telling me, I knew that that was the case. But the reason I even mentioned it is because there's a part of me that doesn't believe that. So thank you for your reflections and helping me really trust more. Clearly, yeah, I mean, it's incredible. So Heart to Heart is saying to Krishna, money is literally nothing for me. So to give you some perspective, if you're new to these live streams, Heart of Heart basically donates 50 euros every stream. Yeah, which if you work that out, you know, we're talking over 1,000 euros a month. So I'm not going to speak into it because I can't. I've not ever experienced being so open, generous, and trusting. I think so trusting that then creates an openness and a generosity, I assume. But I'm just going to leave that on the screen because I can't speak into it. I've never experienced it. But Heart to Heart has. So I think Michael is talking about Charlie, and he's very disappointed at how easily he was swayed. I still think his heart was in the right place, and I'd love to sit down and have a chat with him now and see where he is at one-on-one. Yeah, I would love someone like Michael or myself to interview him and, you know, question him. Not just give him an easy interview, like, you know, what's this J stuff all about? I don't think Michael would go to it. I mean, Michael would obviously do a way better job than I. So I'm actually at the bottom of the chat. Michael is still with us, so yeah, really cool to have you here, bro. Really happy with how well your video was received. Really want to create more content with Michael. But there's always, I don't know how to do it because there's always a group of them down there and there's that scary woman there. So also I'm scared of Michael. I'm scared of Lee. I'm scared of all of them. They can all see through me. They can all see through my bullshit. But I want to do some more content with Michael. And also the fact that I'm waking and baking now, like any confidence I did have is just getting destroyed. But yeah, I just need to go and sit with him. Debbie, right, so what sort of part said? Michael was an enjoyable guest on your channel. Yeah, wasn't he just fantastic? I mean, you know, he's so good, but I can hear the part of me, the egoic, fearful part of me that's like, oh, don't show Michael. Everyone will start watching him instead of you because he's way better than you. But, you know, there's a much bigger part of me that just wants to share amazing people. But yeah, I mean, I think that video was the best video on my channel. I haven't watched it back. And I really should actually. I should watch that one back because I should see how much I F it up. So someone left a comment saying, you're a terrible interviewer. You're speaking over him. You keep saying, wow. And I'm sure they're right. You know, I should watch it back as a learning, actually. I should. But I have such resistance to watching my own content. I hate it. It makes me squirm. Other than lives, for some reason. I think that was one of the best videos ever been on my channel, and I think that's all because of Michael. So yeah, I'm not surprised you felt that way. Debbie agreed. I always give, oh, maybe this is about something else. I don't care what they do with it. So I always give to homeless. I don't care. I've just had a huge shift on this. What they do with it. There was a girl in the shop the other day looking for something for her little brother's birthday. She had £1. So oh, that is really beautiful, Debbie. So hanging around with Lee has really changed this for me. I won't speak into it. I'll get Lee to do it. But be gone with you, beggar, is basically where I'm at with it now. Because they don't respect themselves. It's like, it's an endless pit and you're just reinforcing that pit. Now it's a bit different, like when it's a little girl buying a birthday present for a brother, that's really nice. But if you're, yeah, I think, Lee speaks into it really well, where you're basically just reinforcing victim culture and low vibrations. So yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not allowing them to stay in that, you know. Lol, I can always just come round and sit with you or even jump on a live stream with you at some point. Let's do it, Michael. Let's fucking do it. Just come to the door, man. Just make it happen. Because I'm too repressed and restricted and scared of you. But yeah, just do it. Heart to heart. Debbie, I'm the same. Even though I can clearly see they are an addict, I usually ask, would you like a sandwich or a chocolate bar? Yeah, it's a really difficult one. And I did it for years. You know, I did charity work and all that. But once Lee spoke into it, I was just like, oh, you're so right. And I don't want to try and repeat it because I won't do it justice. And it is a really emotive subject. You know, people can get touchy about it, understandably so. You know, if they are in the giving with homeless people and then I come on and say the opposite, but I don't really articulate it well because it's very new to me. So I don't really want to speak into it. But basically I used to be exactly like this and I'm not anymore. Because they're never going to change, you know, like, why would you support the lowest vibrations in life? And I know, like, it appears as someone that's struggling, like that's how it appears in our reality. But if you look at it vibrationally, you're literally supporting shame, fear, and guilt. What do you think of that, ladies? That's what I'll say. Let me know what you think of that. Michael, thank you for your accolade, bro. You have inspired me to get my arse in gear and actually be consistent in producing content. Amazing, man. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. I was hoping you would feel the pressure of 70 new subscribers who have got no videos to watch. I'm assuming it's 70. I don't know. It might be 10. I would like to think at least, I would like to think you got to 100 subscribers off the back of that video. You know, I feel like Lee and Jeroen both got 50 when I first mentioned them, and the video with you was way more accessible, let's say. You could use the word better, but you know, I think really it's more accessible. So I would like to think that you got 70 subscribers from it. Yeah, it's not about change. It's about feeding the vibration. So heart to heart, for me, it doesn't matter if they are going to change. I'm coming from pure love. Yeah, so I'm not making you wrong. I'm just playing with it. And also in that, is accepting the right word? I'm assuming that you're actually further than me on the journey, so you're probably right. However, I'd be surprised if you're further than Lee. But of course, the journey is not the same for everyone, and Lee has a very masculine energy, and of course, you have a very loving feminine energy. So, you know, the answer, not that that even exists, may be different for you and Lee. So I'm not questioning you or making you wrong in any way, but I do really resonate with what Lee says. I'll get Lee on camera soon to express it. All right, guys, I think that brings us to an end. Really delighted that Michael's in the chat, really excited about creating more content with him. Really excited to have someone like that in my life as well. That's really cool, even if he does scare me. But that's always a good sign. If I'm scared of someone, it means that they have gifts for me that my ego doesn't want to receive. Big thanks to Kerry. Massive thanks, as always, to Heart to Heart. Apologies, not, you know, I know you're not going to be getting lost on this, but I feel I need to apologize for calling you the wrong name for all this time. Debbie, thank you so much. You've been super generous tonight. Bless you, when you already do so much. Thank you. And then Heart to Heart just needed to chuck some more generosity in, because that's what she is. A beautiful ball of, a beautiful vibration of love. It's called Compassion, and Tom, I am actually on more of the masculine side. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm fascinated by you, Heart of Hearts. I think that sums it up nicely. Great live and all love. And we'll finish on Michael. Rest well. I'll see you later. You're doing well, Bo. No need to be scared. I don't bite hard. I love you, Bo. I look forward to connecting with you more. Maybe I'll see you today. See you later.